Test, test, 1, 2. Test, test, 1, 2.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
After a wet night that brought us into today's game, it is a picture perfect night for some baseball. Welcome into the broadcast, everybody. My name is Claire Geary, and alongside me is Ethan Sargeant. And Ethan, let's talk about the plate action in front of the plate, behind the plate, but defensively, both of these squads have some solid men protecting it.
Yeah, we've got two of the best players in the entire GLSCL tonight. So much talent across both of these squads. This is the first time that the Copperheads and Ice Haulers have played each other this season. You've got Josh Steidel behind the plate for the Copperheads. 6 home runs on the season, which is near the top. 4 home runs, correction. He is near the top of the league. But there are multiple guys also there. Jace Reinhardt for the Ice Haulers is a guy to look out for, another catcher for the Ice Haulers. He's behind the plate, but he can mash it too. 6 home runs for him, but there's plenty of other guys that can mash it. And in a ballpark that is not all that large, only 385 out to dead center, we could see a lot of power tonight.
Not only is there a lot of power, but there's a lot of action yet to be played here. So stay tuned on Ohio Southern Copperheads here on YouTube. with the national anthem being wrapped up and along with all of the players that have been honored with the Little League team alongside them for the Ice Haulers, that gives us a chance to speak up and give a little bit more of a background against these two squads. So starting off with the Ice Haulers with the batting order, starting with Nathan Archer, the designated hitter for the Archers, followed by Jacob Armsey, the shortstop baseman for them, Josh Cross in the third slot, third base, and Garrett Pike in the cleanup slot, playing right field. Jace Reinhardt catching behind the plate. Eli Snyder at first. Mason Montgomery at second. Michael Pollard at left field. Dom Maglioka at center. And rounding out on the mound is Francisco Olivares on the mound. And as for your Copperheads, starting things off is Trey Rucker, the right fielder out of Arizona State, who was a transfer from San Juanito College and originally from Bourne, Texas, and IMG Academy is where he went to high school. Next up is Clayton Hodges, originally from Jacksonville University. 5 starts, 8 hits, 3 RBIs, and hometown is Jacksonville, Florida. In the third slot, Kyle Ratliff, originally from Southern Illinois University, Edwards, and grew up in Wyoming, Michigan, attended Lake Michigan College before transferring to SIU. In the cleanup slot for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, Josh Steidel, Jacksonville University from Ponte Vedra, Florida, and helped North Brown Pepperwood, his high school, to a state championship in 2021, where they was also named the state championship semifinal most valuable player. In the 5 slot, Mason Nadolny, playing third base for the Cheds, comes from Concordia University and originally from Minnetonka, Minnesota. In the 6th slot, you have Maverick Stallings playing shortstop for the Copperheads, who is originally from St. John's River State College from Apopka, Florida. Mitch Class from Concordia University in St. Paul. Jordan Long up next from Edison State, originally from Huber Heights, Ohio, so a local, to this Northeast Ohio area. And rounding out the starting lineup is Ian Crump, cleaning things up in the 9th slot from Miles Community College with Matt Gilkey on the mound. Brings us to the first pitch here with a 7:03 start time, aiming for 7:05, and the pitch high and above the right side batter.
Trey Rucker has been a stud this year for the Copperheads, one of the better players on this team, and he's been so consistent at the plate. Had a couple RBIs against the Settlers last time out.
1-1, called a strike on the right inside corner, essentially where he was trying to shoot for on that first original pitch. Make that strike number 2, 1-2. Called once again on that right outside corner.
Yeah, one thing I love about Trey Rucker is how consistent he is at the plate. He sticks to his craft and waits for his pitches.
And waits for his pitch indeed as he sails that up into right center field. Meanwhile, Maglioka finds it in the sun, takes it for himself, make that 1 down for the Ice Haulers and 1 off the box for the Copperheads. Up next, Hodges. Hodges comes into tonight's game with 5 starts, 8 hits, and 3 RBIs, and he's got 12 runs to his name overall for the season.
Yeah, Hodges has really stepped into a new role, really stepping up, and kind of has really extended. Kyle Ratliff had that center field spot locked down, and he still does, but Hodges has really moved around a lot of different spots. He's played left field, he's played center field, and he has moved around. He's really found his bat, 3 for 5 in his last game.
Fouled off the first one and once again finds the sweet spot and sent it into right center. This time having center right crashed by Garrett Pike, make that 2 down for the Ice Haulers and 2 off the board from the top of the order for the Copperheads. Kyle Ratliff makes his appearance at the plate, and he comes up with 36 games played, and he averages a .364 batting average while on the right side of the plate with 38 RBIs and 12
Yeah, Kyle Ratliff is a stud. Copperheads fans who have been watching these streams know just how talented this guy is. He can mash the baseball, and as I mentioned in the pregame, in a small park like this, this might be his night to break that record.
And he sends it back, and he is gone. Make that another home run to his name and the first home run of the night. First at bat, what a way to make some noise for Kyle Ratliff. 2 down, no problem for him, and he sends it over the left fence field and makes it a 1-0 game over the Ice Haulers in the first
Kyle
inning.
Ratliff, remember the name. This guy is an absolute stud, as I was just talking about. And what did I say? I pretty much said it 330, 340 straight, dead out. Got the second pitch he got, and he mashed it. He got all of it, and that is 8 home runs. That's a Copperhead franchise record, so big congratulations to Kyle Ratliff. It's been an amazing season for him, putting himself on the map, transferring to SIUE in the spring. It's going to be really exciting to see what he does at a high level.
What a way to follow up with Josh Steidel coming up to the plate 2-0 right now. Both balls sailed over his head. Imagine having to follow up that. Just a home run right off the top of the inning.
I mean, Kyle Ratliff, you know the power he brings pretty much every time he comes to the plate. If as a pitcher, seeing that coming up is just not good. You do not want to see that guy at the plate.
Steidel took a swing for it. Umpire called for some assistance on the first base side. 2-2. 2 down. And 1-0. Full count. Ball sails on the outside of the right batter's box.
Yeah, Steidel's got some power, too. He's got 4 home runs this year. The guy lefty can definitely hang it over that right field wall. So right fielders, be aware.
Fouls it off, sends it right back to him. 3-2, still full count, 1-0. It is a beautiful night in the ballpark. I mean, you can see Millennium Forest, Top Thrill Dragster. You can see Cedar Point, the owner of the Sports Forest Park. And it's just so picturesque to see. And it turns into a walk as Steidel is patient at the plate and sends himself to first base. 2 down, still for the Ice Haulers with hot start, but dang, you cannot deny what Kyle Ratliff just saw and drove it right to the left field.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, you cannot give Kyle Ratliff any chances. You just absolutely cannot do it. And as you were saying before, it really is a beautiful ballpark. It's a nice little sports complex, and you can see all the beautiful rides over at Cedar Point. Many of the Copperhead players were up here early today enjoying the rides. Even us broadcasters had a chance to head up there and enjoy the thrills of Cedar Point. So definitely a cool place to come play up here in Sandusky.
0-2 as Mason Nadolny fouls that off behind him. And yes, it is a beautiful ballpark. They established this a couple years ago, so it's pretty brand new in comparison to what some ballparks around this area are. But Cedar Point, a great place to entertain, and not only that, but get to know your squad and really connect with the players from the broadcast to athlete perspective. 1-2. Ball falls right on the inside right corner of the batter's box.
And Mason Dolney, one of 2 all-star starters for the Copperheads. This guy plays at the plate, but also is a stud in the field, has the best fielding percentage on the Copperheads. Made his first error of the season in the last game against the Settlers.
Mason Nadolny thinks about it, holds his swing. 2-2. Not only that, but he's also driven in 9 runs and has had 20 hits so far to the season with 1 triple. Ball sails low just a little bit. 3-2 full count. Still 2 down. Seems as if the Kyle Ratliff home run boggled them just a little bit.
I mean, yeah, that'll get in the mind of any pitcher when you see a ball get mashed 340, 350 feet behind you. It's hard to bounce back from that.
The pitch, and it turns into ball 4. That sends Steidel to second base, Nadolny to first, and then you get Maverick Stallings up to bat for the Cheds, the St. John's River State College player out of Apopka, Florida, makes his mark with 2 down.
Now, this is the exact sort of start you want if the Copperheads. Sometimes, they sometimes get off to slow starts at the plate or slow starts in the field, but this is the perfect start. You get that big home run from Ratliff, and now a chance to potentially add some more here in the top of the first with a runner now in scoring position with 2 outs.
Ball sails just a little bit high next to the letters on the jerseys. 1-0. Oliveras took his look back before throwing it down the plate for a 1-1 count. Oliveras has 2 runners on, like I said, has Steidel and Nadolny. with the pitch down the plate, and it is called a strike. 1-2, the first time he's been up in the count since the top of the order.
Yeah, with Steidel and Nadolny over at first and second, Maverick Stallings going to try and find something here. You've got a couple runners on. You have to take advantage of opportunities, something the Copperheads have struggled with.
Stallings looks for the strike. Not close enough, and the frame comes from behind the plate with Reinhardt. 2-2. Runners with their leadoff stances. Olivares takes a look back at second. Seidel playing back and forth with him. Ball sails over the outside fence. Still 2-2 count. It's that 2-out hole that Kyle Ratliff just made sure they knew how to feel.
Stallings did have an RBI in that game against the Settlers late last week. See if he can do something here.
And the pitch. Another one fouled off and behind. 2-2.
And that is one thing that these Copperheads do very well. A lot of these guys make pitchers work for their outs. Even if, you know, Maverick Stallings ends up striking out here, he is making the pitcher work. He is racking up that pitch count, and it is going to be tough to keep up with that with the pace that the Copperheads are already blitzing at here early in this one.
Olivares looks back in the pitch. It's a little low, and the runners are sending and advancing. Steidel makes his way to third. Nadolny takes second, and runners are in scoring position with a full count and only 2 outs, and it seems like Olivares is just struggling to put things together here in the top of this, at the top of the game. Base runners take their leads. Olivares with the windup. Crack of the bat from Stallings over the center field. Not even. Oh, did it bounce? It bounced in. That's 1 in, and that makes it 2. So a double RBI makes it a 3-0 game over the Ice Haulers at the top of the first with a double from Maverick Stallings as it bounced into right center field off the Ice Haulers logo on the fence, bringing in the runners, and that makes it a 3-0 lead for the Copperheads.
And we talk about taking advantage of opportunities, Claire. That is taking advantage of an opportunity. He fouled a couple off. He took a couple pitches low, and now Maverick Stallings found his pitch, got it right over the middle. Great contact over right out there to right center. Got a really nice hop off the wall, stand-up double over there. And Stallings is in now on second base, and the Copperheads have taken advantage here. They have gotten after Francisco Olivares. And now decision time here for the Ice Haulers, down 3-0 early. The Ice Haulers have struggled as of late. They're just 2-8 over their last 10 games, and in a really tight GLSCL North where they're still very much alive and in playoff contention. Losing games like this to cross-division teams could be so costly, and the Ice Haulers will come to Athens for now, I believe, 3 games. They're going to do a doubleheader on Friday, and then they'll play on Saturday as well after yesterday's game was canceled. But these are the sort of games that the Ice Haulers just can't afford to lose, and the Copperheads right now all over them here early.
Absolutely costly, and Olivares knows it as they called a team meeting at the mound with manager of the Ice Haulers, Jarrett Hagan, stepping forward to kind of reel back in his squad and hopefully close out this inning. They got the 2 outs, top of the order, really easy, and have just struggled to find the zone since then. With the pitch and a swing and a miss, makes it an 0-2 count. However, last time we saw an 0-2 count from Stallings, he came back, worked the zone, and not only worked the zone, but he worked the edge of the right field and center field where outfielders just couldn't crash it. Outside pitch makes it a 1-2 count.
Yeah, it's just been a number of quality at-bats from these Copperhead players. They have, after the first 2 relatively simple outs for Olivares, he has just struggled. And, I mean, nothing like a home run to Jolia.
Infield chopper gets sent to second base, and it is a ground out for Class. Make that the top of the first inning. How exciting. 3-0 lead from a home run sailed into left field from Kyle Ratliff, and then a double RBI from Maverick Stallings to close it out. You'll stay with us here on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. It is the bottom of the first inning, sponsored by Ohio Health. And what an exciting first half, but now the Copperheads get to show what they are made of on the defensive side of things. Ethan, what about Gilkey? I mean, this man is on the mound representing the squad, but what does he have to offer for the Copperheads?
Yeah, out of Alderson Broadus University from Middleport, Ohio, so Ohio born and raised. And let me tell you, this guy's got some really good stuff. After he had a rough first outing in his first game, but ever since then, he's been locked down. So the ERA 5.93 doesn't really reflect how he's been pitching as of late. 13.2 innings pitch, and he's got 8 strikeouts. So I'm looking to see a solid few innings here for Matt Gilkey.
And the pitch, the first one of the night from Gilkey, is a strike down the middle against Nathan Archer, the batter for the Ice Haulers, originally from Bowling Green State University, and a Northeast Ohio original from LaGrange, Lorain County native, who's gone 1 for 4 with 1 run up against Licking County.
Yeah, he's got a 289 average on the year. No home runs with 13 RBIs on the season. And now they're working from behind here, the Ice Haulers. The Bats didn't even have a chance before they went down 3-0, so they have to get a quick response here.
Didn't have a chance, and a chopper down first base that goes foul, makes an 0-2 count as the last 2 were fouled out and behind home plate. Archer, the designated hitter, starts off the top of the order for the Ice Haulers as Gilkey takes his windup and once again sends the ball down the first base side outside.
Yeah, as the umpire calls time here real quick, just another quick reflection on that last inning. Kyle Ratliff, what an absolute superstar that the Copperheads have dug up this summer. 8 home runs on the season, which is a franchise record. The guy does it all. He's in the field. He makes plays and just is an absolute star for this team. Should have been an all-star starter, in my humble opinion. And he just dominates, and he got that started with that solo shot, which breaks the Copperhead franchise record. So once again, as we mentioned, huge congratulations to him on that.
Not only that, but it's his 20th birthday. Imagine breaking a franchise record on your birthday.
Big happy birthday to him as well.
Happy birthday, Kyle Ratliff, as Archer is in a 1-2 count. 1 ball sailed down to the left corner with Gilkey on his windup, and it's a swing and a miss, and that's your first strikeout of the night, going down hot. 1 out for the Copperheads. First strikeout we've seen all night swinging. Up next for the Ice Haulers is Jacob Armsey. Armsey, originally from Akron, Ohio, another Northeast Ohio native, and plays for the University of South Carolina. Went 0 for 4 against Licking County. First pitch on the inside from Gilkey on the mound. 1 out and 1-1.
An interesting little thing is that from a lot of these guys are from USC upstate, which, funnily enough, the Ohio Bobcats played against earlier in the year. Had USC upstate took 2 of 3. So there's a few Bobcats on this team, guys like Carson Shepard, who's on the bench tonight, and Luke Borer as well, a few pitchers. Have a little bit of experience against some of these guys.
Infield chopper to third, sends the ball over from Nadolny, and that makes it a 2-out game.
Yeah, once again, Mason Nadolny has an absolute cannon over there at third base. Don't test him because he will cut you off. And that one, you know, it may seem like a routine play over there for guys on the hot corner, but for average guys like me, that is not a simple play. So he picks it up and just guns it on over to first base. And especially with this smaller field, this kind of high school dimension field, it's a little bit of a shorter run over there to first base. So, you know, it makes it harder for fielders to make that throw over there. So Nadolny showing off the cannon from the hot corner.
Armsy's retired with Josh Cross stepping up to the plate, the third baseman for the Haulers. Cross takes a crack at it, sends it up into left field, loses his hat from the shortstop, and it goes into the hands of Ian Crump to retire the inning. And that is a 3-0 inning. What a way to win the top of the game for the Copperheads. And this was sponsored by Ohio Health. We will be right back here, so stay with it on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. And we are at the top of the second inning, sponsored by Jackie O's Brewery and Pub. I love Jackie O's.
So
it's
do
one of
I.
my favorite parts of Athens, as the first pitch from Francisco Olivares is fouled off
You can
by Jordan Long.
can always pick up one of those Homer's Hazy IPAs at Bob Wren when we're back later this week when we take on, I believe, the Settlers once again.
Homer's Hazy
actually, no,
IPA.
against the Ice Haulers are coming to town, not the Settlers. We play the Settlers so often, I get it mixed up. I mean, it makes sense. The Settlers are 45 minutes up the road in Licking County. So it makes sense that these two teams would play each other fairly often.
Olivares sends that one up next to the letter, so it's a 1-1 count. Meanwhile, Jordan Long fouls that up and out. 1-2 count. And yeah, Homer's Hazy IPA, Ethan, it was great getting to work with Annie Valent in her business of baseball class and having just a class dedicated to brainstorming, naming beers. And he looked for it, and that was another ball?
Yeah,
Yes, that was a ball. That was an odd call from the
umpire
ump.
gave it a little.
He gave it a little too much extra to the ball call. 2-2 for Long. Long takes another crack at it and sends it high up into the infield. Right field crashes onto it, and Montgomery retires Long for the first out of the second inning. But yeah, the business of baseball class was such a fantastic learning experience. Really got to understand what it means to run a baseball organization, even on such a microscopic level that is the Southern Ohio Copperheads. But obviously there's a ton of Cheddars that do a lot of great things, so it's good to have a little piece of my heart go towards this organization. Yeah. Even though I did graduate, we don't mention that.
I mean,
I contributed to your squad.
It
so.
goes to show, I mean, you know, when you even just talk about the Copperheads organization as a whole, you know, everybody from top to bottom, all of the game day staff, from all of our executive staff, all the way down to guys in our ticket sales, guys that, work the games, everybody that's involved. Charlie Clegg, Chris Marks, our co-GMs, Trevor Stevens, our director of player management. So much that goes into this program. It's amazing, everything that we do, of course, from the broadcasting to the game day experience. It's what makes the Copperheads tick, that Business of Baseball class connect, and it's just an awesome experience for business students, for journalism students, for marketing students. It's just an all-around phenomenal thing that Ohio University and the Copperheads do.
4 up, 4 out. So that takes Ian Crump, who rounds out the 9 for the Sheds, sends him to first base, and it's the first walk of the night, or third walk of the night, I should say, for Francisco Oliveras. And that takes us right back to the top of the order with Trey Rucker, who is 0 for 1 right now on the night. And yes, that Business of Baseball class really has a special connection, and hopefully it can continue going into the next couple semesters to really build a foundation and reputation on campus that the Copperheads is a learning experience that students want to be a part of, and not just, willy-nilly saying yes to it because it's, in Athens and their friends are doing it, but something they truly want to be a part of and grow and extend from going into their careers. But Trey Rucker with the pitch from Oliveras sends it back down into the left corner. 1-1 on the count. Second inning, 1 out so far. However, it's hard to deny the fact that Kyle Ratliff sent that one over the fence and had a 2-run RBI, or had a double RBI from Maverick Stallings. And it's just such a hot way to get started with things. Ball goes foul from long onto the right side of the field. Loses it in the sun and sends Crump back to first base, and Crump's just slowly taking his lead behind Oliveras on the mound. The windup, and it's a chopper into Pollard. Looks for the second base play, and he is safe at first, so that gives... Never mind, that was a double play, and that sends us out 3 up, 3 down. For the Ice Haulers, a much different situation than what they started with at the top of the first. Going into the second, 3-0. Sheds get another opportunity to score and take advantage of the gap. Stay with us here on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. Welcome back to Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube, which is sponsored by Steak and Shake in Athens. 3-0 so far with the Copperheads at the top of that score list. It is second inning. Ice Haulers turn to double play to end out the top of the second, going into the bottom. Garrett Pike up to bat for the Haulers.
Gilkey got through that first inning with no problems. Got a strikeout as well and a ground out and a pop out. But this is where this part of the order has done a lot of damage for the Ice Haulers so far this season, as
an infield chopper puts Mitch Class behind first base, with Gilkey crashing in to take advantage and make sure that open base is covered. One pitch, 1 out so far for the bottom of the second. Gilkey playing everywhere so far for this squad, as he has been on the move and really needs to fill the holes when he needs to, and it's what you want in a pitcher. They need to be a little more versatile than just being able to throw balls and strikes.
Absolutely. And as I was saying, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters are the danger parts of that order, as this one is driven far.
Armsy sends that over the right fence above the Raising Cane's logo, and that is a home run for the Ice Haulers, finally getting their crack at a little bit of taste of revenge against the Copperheads, and that is one home run against Gilkey in a 1-3 ball game so far, but at least they put something up on the board. First pitch, first home run for him on the night.
Well, it appears we have a little bit of a home run race brewing here in Sandusky. Kyle Ratliff mashes one in the first to get his tally up to 8 on the year, and now Jace Reinhardt gets up to 6, so that brings him up to 2nd in the league, and his hot streak continues. That'll boost up his average even more. So that's 6 home runs to 8 now, and we could have a little bit. We called it a home run derby in the earlier in the pregame. It's brewing here on home run derby night in Major League Baseball. We'll see plenty of balls mashed out in LA. We're seeing lots mashed right here in Sandusky.
Eli Snyder steps up to the plate. 1-2 count, make that a 2-2 count. 2 balls, 1 strike with the second inning and 1 out to the name. 3-1 after a home run from Reinhardt just previous. Snyder takes a crack at it and once again sends that one over the fence. Make that back-to-back home runs for the Ice Haulers. A 2-3 lead in the same spot right over right field, the Raising Cane's, Culver's area, and there's nothing else but for the Copperheads to watch it and see it fly over the fence line.
Well, it really is a home run derby now. I mean, 3 home runs in the first 2 innings. We mentioned that smaller ballpark. We mentioned the power that both of these teams have. Oof, I mean, it is coming very fast here, very, very quickly. The things are moving, as it was 3-0, and in the blink of an eye, 2 at-bats later, it's 3-2 as Reinhardt and Snyder go back-to-back.
Following Reinhardt Snyder comes Mason Montgomery, the second baseman for the Haulers, with the first ball thrown at him, a strike. And so far, that gap doesn't seem too big anymore. It's only a one-run differentiation, with the second ball thrown a little too low for Montgomery to reach and make it an 0-2 count.
Yeah, so now these are the sort of at-bats as a pitcher where now you just have to calm yourself down and bring yourself back to earth almost. You know, you feel hurt, but now
Montgomery cracks that, but it's just a little too far outside of the first baseline and goes foul. 0-2 count still remains.
As a pitcher, again, you just have to gather yourself. You have to take a deep breath, stay calm, and just get your out here and, you know, just get yourself back in the groove.
Gilkey with the pitch, and the crack of the bat sends it into right field, but it looks like it's going to be a line drive, and Rucker retrieves it from the outfield, sends it into second. Single goes towards Montgomery's name, and 3 hits in a row for this Copperheads, or for this Hauler squad, with the first out of the night being Pike.
Yeah, now Coach TJ Lanning gonna go out there and just have a word with Matt Gilkey. Probably just a moment here, again, as I was mentioning earlier, just to calm things down maybe a little bit. You know, let him have a breather, let him have a moment to just think things over a little bit. Josh Steidl over there also, an experienced catcher, played plenty of baseball this season. And, you know, just being able to ease your pitcher, something TJ Lanning's very good at, just being able to calm things down as a man manager. He has a great relationship with a lot of these players. And now just going out there, just saying probably, hey, you know, relax, calm down. You've got this. You pitched really well so far. You know, just gave up a couple of home runs, but that's all right. We still have a lead. You got a lead to defend. So now, now Gilkey's got to go back out there with a man on first and 1 out and continue to work.
Man on first, 1 out, and a lot of baseball yet to play as Gilkey resets himself, takes a check back over at first to see what Montgomery has to offer on the bases. Looks for the windup, throws the pitch into the dirt, or I should say turf. 1-0 counts. And
it's dirt.
It's dirt.
It looks like dirt. It's turf, but it looks like dirt. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one, Claire.
Gilkey takes his check back towards Montgomery on first. The windup and the pitch, right at the letters, rightfully called strike. 1-1. Two runs scored with back-to-back home runs. The first one coming from Snyder. First one coming from Reinhardt, my bad. Second one coming from Snyder. Gilkey takes his look back once more, gives a good old head nod, goes for the letters, and the catcher tries to sail this over, and he is called out at second. What a great throw from Jace Reinhardt. No hesitation whatsoever. Retires Montgomery on the steal. Make that 2 outs with nothing hurt against them. Putting Montgomery in a scoring position would have made things a little trickier. So kudos to Reinhardt for sending that one over past Gilkey into second base to get the out.
Yeah, nothing like your catcher bailing you out. Is Steidl over there behind the plate, making life easier for your pitcher. As you know, we've seen Steidl on this broadcast many times before, just gunning guys out as that one's fouled off. He just has that ability with his arm to just laser people. You know, he does not. It is not a guy you want to steal against in Josh Steidl. He's got a frozen rope, and that was another picture-perfect throw. And Jordan Long, good tag applied over there at second base, and that's a big out.
3-2 full count. Make that a walk for Montgomery as he takes first base, and Gilkey can't close it out. But yes, Steidl with such a great throw, and honestly, no hesitation whatsoever, and that's what you're looking for in a catcher. Not only that, but you're looking for a field manager essentially outside of your coach on the bench to really take a hold and take charge of things when it needs to be done.
Absolutely. I think that now Gilkey, again, as I mentioned before, the catcher just giving you that little bit of a bailout, getting you the out for you, basically. Now you've only got 2 outs. You just got to find a way to get a guy to ground out, foul out, just get, you know,
Some kind of out.
As a pitcher, you've got so many different, you know, ways that you can get a guy out, right? So now you just got to figure it out and get out of a little bit of the jam that he has worked himself into here as he's walked another batter. That's 2 now.
Gilkey takes his look back at Montgomery, and the ball goes right behind Steidl as Montgomery trots on over towards second base in scoring position. Pollard is out on second, and at the plate is Dom Maglioka. 2-0 count, 2 down, second inning. Pitch from Gilkey just a little bit too high. Makes it a 3-0 count.
Maglioka coming from Miami University Hamilton. Did not record a hit against the Settlers in the Ice Haulers last game. Got a 167 average on the season.
And the chopper hit to third. Third takes it all the way across the diamond and makes that a 3-out number. Nadolny throws it across, gets the out, sends this one into the third inning. 2-3. Copperheads still up by 1. However, the Ice Haulers crawling back into it with back-to-back home runs from Reinhardt and Snyder. Stay with us here on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. Welcome back into the broadcast at the top of the third inning, sponsored by Ohio University Credit Union Financial here at Sports Force Park in Sandusky, Ohio, where the Ice Haulers are down by 1 with the Cheds hanging on to a lead that started off with Kyle Ratliff, who is also at the plate for the Cheds. Olivares takes his first pitch for the third inning, sends it a little low in between the belt and the knees.
Clayton Hodges up to bat now for the Copperheads. Flied out in his first at-bat. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Hodges really found his way into this team. Didn't really start a lot earlier on in the season, but has really carved a role for himself and started a lot of the recent games.
Hodges fouls that one off of the catcher's equipment. That's why you got it. 2 balls, 1 strike at the top of the third. It turned into a home run derby, as we predicted, as Ethan predicted, I should say, at the beginning of this broadcast. With the smaller field sizes, it makes for a lot more cushion for things to go far. And as I say far, that ball is hit into the right center field and bounces off the edge as Hodges rounds second, makes his way to third, and starts to look for home, but slides into it for the triple to his name, and the bats continue to stay hot for the Copperheads with the threat coming up to the plate. Kyle Ratliff, the man himself, the birthday boy, as I should say, and still hanging on to the lead. This is not the person you want at the plate.
Clayton Hodges digging in for 3 there. Really, really good piece of hitting there. Splits the outfielders. Looked like, I think it just bounced and then hit the top, hit the yellow foul pole, or not the foul pole, the yellow top of the fence over there in center field. It allowed it to not be a ground rule double, so it bounced back. Hodges had third on his mind all the way from first. He was rounding third. It was all coming, and now, as he just mentioned, you do not want this guy on the plate with runners in scoring position.
Ratliff fouls that one outside of the fence line. 1-1 to his name and a runner in scoring position. Runner being teammate Hodges. Hodges, who went 0-1, who was 0-1 going up into his at bat here at the top of the third, is now 1 for 2 on the night with Ratliff. Hot so far. Called a strike just at the knees. 1-2.
Yeah, Kyle Ratliff's favorite football team, fun fact, is the Kansas City Chiefs, and he will fight you if you dare call him a bandwagon.
Ball bounced into the catcher's mitt.
Kyle Ratliff, we talked to him yesterday. He said he's been around since the days of Priest Holmes, Jamal Charles. He has been there, and he will say, if you call me a bandwagon, I will not take that lightly. So Kyle Ratliff, diehard Chiefs fan and very, very talented baseball player.
2-2. Ratliff fouls it off towards his teammate on the third base side. Lanning takes that one into his own hands and sends it back over to Olivares on the mound. Shouldn't cross Ratliff about his Chiefs. Not only shouldn't you cross him, but you shouldn't cross the ball right over the plate as well, or else he'll send it.
That is a great point, Claire. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again right here.
Olivares with the pitch. Gives a check to third. And he does it again, but this time it's a line drive into center field. Make that 1 RBI to his name along with the single. Ratliff 2 for 2, puts Hodges in, make it a 4-2 lead over the Haulers at the top of the third.
And he does it again. Just a casual hit this time. Not your mash of a home run like the first one, but this will do just fine if you're the Copperheads. Just a rope single over the shortstop. No chance for him to make a play. And now Ratliff lines up on first. Ratliff, another thing that we don't see as often from Kyle Ratliff, just because of how often he homers, is his speed on the base paths is something to marvel. This guy can absolutely motor. And I would not be surprised if Coach TJ Lanning sends him from first base here, even with no outs. This guy could steal, and even the best catchers struggle to throw him out.
Steidel at the plate with an 0-2 count as he sends that back into the nets. Base runner on, fellow teammate Ratliff. Ratliff, he is the sole reason why they have the score that they do, as half of the runs produced so far in the night have been from his name. Steidel takes a swing at the grounder and walks off on an 0-3 out, make that 1 out against the Cheds in favor of the Haulers.
Yeah, that was the first kind of duel Olivares has really been able to win against these Copperhead hitters. Got the strikeout there on Steidel. Got a nice low pitch there. Steidel just a little bit in front of that one. And that brings up Mason Nadolny.
Nadolny takes a swing at the plate while Ratliff remains on first base. Kind of surprised he's sitting right there as Nadolny sends that one into the right field outside the base path. 0-1.
Yeah, Nadolny, 20 for 63 for a 317 average on the year, one of the higher averages on the team. Just 7 RBIs, though, and he hasn't been able to hit a home run.
He is on a 4-game hit streak, though, so expect to see that continue as Ratliff takes off, and he is safe at second base. Like Ethan mentioned, the speed went to his name, and it worked in his favor as the catcher was just a little bit too behind to get the tag at the base.
And the thing about that is that wasn't even a bad throw. I mean, that's a really solid throw from Jace Reinhardt behind the plate. He gave his guy every chance, but just too quick. Kyle Ratliff just too fast getting in there to second base.
Ball sails over Nadolny's head, making a 2-1 count.
And now Maverick Stallings also in the on-deck circle, has a couple RBIs himself.
With runners in scoring position and a man who's known for getting a hit in the last 4 games, not the situation Olivares is looking to be in, especially with the batter up in the count 3-1, as that is outside of the strike zone.
Yeah, already 63 pitches for Olivares as well. And as I've mentioned a few times in this broadcast, typically you won't see these starters go really over 90 to 100 pitches. So it'll be important here for Olivares to get out of this while he still can.
3-1 count, and he didn't like it enough to take a crack at it, so it's a 3-2 strike full for Nadolny. Olivares takes a look back at second base. Pitch, and it's another line drive into right field, the perfect spot to try and send Ratliff. However, you got a split pair of runners, one on third, one on first, leaving one in scoring position. An absolutely necessary hit that came from Nadolny, and he is now on a 5-game hit streak to continue.
Yeah, Kyle Ratliff thought about it. He was really thinking about it, but TJ Lanning over there, third base coaching, held him up, which was probably the smart decision as right fielder Pike had gathered it up. But now you bring up a guy who already has a couple RBIs in this game in Maverick Stallings. With 1 out this time, try and add to the Copperhead lead, which is still 4-2 in the top of the 3rd inning.
Stallings with the 1 ball thrown towards him. Olivares takes his look towards the lead runner. And the ball is fouled off after the pitch goes and spirals right behind the broadcast booth, essentially. Kids climbing over the neighboring field to go chase after that one.
Yeah, baseball's for the kids. Love that. All the kids that we see at the Copperhead games. It's nice to see them show up in some other places.
Grounder right to Pollard, sends it to second. However, the ball is overthrown at first, and even though the runner is retired, it gives Stallings the chance to make an extra base, and he so doesn't. Stallings at second rings Ratliff in at home and retires Nadolny on the fielder's choice. What a 5-2 lead over the Ice Haulers. It seems like every time, Ethan, these Copperheads get a chance at swinging the bat, they will take matters into their own hands and run with it.
Yeah, I mean, if I'll be honest there, Stallings gets a little lucky. He grounds into a double play ball, and they get the first out, but the throw from the second baseman was just a little long as Class fouls back his first pitch. Throw is just a little out of the reach of the first baseman, Snyder, and now I don't believe Stallings will get credit for an RBI for that because it was a fielder's choice. But Ratliff comes home anyway, and the Copperheads add to their lead, so it's now 5-2. And they make the 2 runs back that they gave up in the bottom of the second on those back-to-back home runs from Reinhardt and Snyder.
And trusting your lineup in Gilkey's position is essentially what he had to do in that position that he was put in. However, the pitch from Olivares thrown as a strike, make that the second one to his name against Class. 1-2 count on the 3rd inning with 2 outs, still looking to get out of that hole. Olivares with the pitch and the swing and a miss, and he retires Class, and the inning is going into the bottom of the 3rd. Make that a 5-2 lead with 2 extra runs added to the board. One to Kyle Ratliff's name, another to Hodges, but both involving Ratliff in general. Stick with us here as we go into the bottom of the third with the Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. Going into the bottom of the third, the Copperheads going into the top of the Going into the bottom of the third for the Copperheads on the mound, Gilkey with the pitch, and the crack of the bat sends it into right field. That has no fear for Rucker. One and done for the first out, just like the last two innings for the Southern Ohio Copperheads. And this inning is brought to you by Eclipse Company Store, based out of Athens, Ohio. Love Eclipse. They have some great potato skin, brisket, and coleslaw appetizers. That is my go-to appetizer.
My mouth is watering.
Ugh.
I am very hungry. They have some great wings too.
They do have some
lot
great
of
wings.
dry rub wings.
Great beer selection as well, as the first out is retired, making it a 1-1 count for the Copperheads versus the Ice Hollers. Absolutely stunning night for these two teams to face off, as yesterday was a washout and canceled it, as Jacob Armsey is at the plate for the Hollers. Ball bounces back behind Steidel.
As Gilkey currently through 2.1, thrown 23 strikes and 12 balls so far.
Sails that one over the head of Armsey.
So he's on 35 pitches. If you go by that count I said earlier, you don't really see these GLSEL pitchers go above really 90 to 100 pitches. Gilkey's still looking at, a good amount of work to be done. Hasn't started too many games, but he's being entrusted with this one so far, and he's still very early into his work, just only through 2 and a bit, obviously, but plenty of work still to do for him.
Armsey takes a hold of that one and sends it into right center field. Meanwhile, the Copperheads chase after it, and it bounces off the top, and it is over and out, making it a ground rule double for Armsey to put himself in scoring position. Like we mentioned, the smaller park really makes it easy for these two teams to get a hold of the ball and make it interesting. Yeah. And you saw the Copperheads do it at the top of the first, second inning as well. Not only that, but they did it in the third, all to the man named Kyle Ratliff. Meanwhile, Armsey putting his name on the board for an addition of a hit for the night for the Hollers.
Yeah, that was probably, honestly, a little bit of a lucky break for the Copperheads that did end up going for a ground rule double, because I believe that Armsey was going to dig for 3 if that bounces down, and it would have been a tough throw all the way across the field for either Rucker or Hodges, who were both kind of in the zip code of where that ball was. So probably a little bit of a break there that did end up bouncing and going over the fence for the ground rule double. But now Gilkey, another jam to work out of here with a runner on second and just 1 out.
A little bit of a jam, but some padding on the scoreboard as well as Cross steps up to the plate and barely avoids our broadcast camera. Our producer, Cedric Granger, behind us with us tonight. Shout out to Cedric for giving the phone call and handing off a broadcast to the old Bobcat in town. But very thankful for Cedric and Ethan and welcoming me in with open arms as I did for them once in my life, and grateful to have it with the Southern Ohio Copperheads as Cross takes yet another pitch, 2-1 with 1 out on the board. And like we mentioned, Matt Gilkey just needs to get into the groove a little bit, and I feel like once you see your team be successful at the plate as a pitcher, then you are expected to uphold that and can get a little bit of inside of your head. Meanwhile, knowing you have the padding is absolutely necessary, as the next one he zings across the plate is a strike.
Well, I did document on this broadcast back when I did a couple with Tim Hanna. I did a call with him a couple weeks ago. I did document that I was a Yankees fan. And in that, there's a Yankees pitcher, Jordan Montgomery, who just rarely gets run support. And he's talked about how it's hard as a pitcher. Like, it's not his fault that he's not getting run support, as that one is lashed into right center.
It is lashed into right center, but Clayton Hodges gets a hold of that one. Meanwhile, Armsy sends himself on to third after tagging up on the play and taking the extra base, putting him in scoring position just a little bit closer, but that's 2 outs with a runner on base. Still, can they leave them stranded as Pike shows back up to the plate?
Yeah, Pike's 0 for 1 so far tonight. But as I was saying, just a lot of what pitchers do is all mental, right? When you have the mentality and when you get that run support, it gives you that mental boost, right? You know, your teammates are lifting you up. You know, they're making your job easier. Pitching from behind is so hard because, you know, you can only do so much. You can pitch a perfect game and you could still lose, right? Just ask the Cincinnati Reds.
Just ask the Cincinnati Reds.
They pitched a no-hitter last month or 2 months ago now, and they lost the game. As a pitcher, you cannot score runs. That's why baseball is a team sport. So now as a pitcher, you're a part of the team now. You've got to defend the lead, but having your teammates at your back like that is so helpful for your mentality.
Not only with the mentality, but when you're up in the counts, that helps you as well, as the last two have been thrown down and fouled out against Pike. 0-2 count, 2 down, bottom of the third with the cushion of the scoreboard. Everything in favor of Gilkey right now as he takes a breath and sends it over the plate, and it is a ball. You can hear it from the back of the call. The fans aren't happy about that one, at least on the Copperhead side of the lineup.
Yeah, it's a good pitch from Gilkey. Maybe just a hair low, but maybe give it the benefit of the doubt as here comes the 1-2.
1-2 as he sends it for a shortstop throw, and Stallings gets it right across the diamond to Class and makes it a 3-up, 3 down with 1 left on base. Top of the fourth coming at your way. Stick around right here for Southern Ohio Copperheads baseball on YouTube. Welcome back into the broadcast. It is the top of the fourth, sponsored by Ohio Health. Personally, I've never been in a hospital before. However, something that was different about going into this inning is the pitching change from the Haulers. Cooper Donlin on the mound representing Sandusky.
Yeah, from Oakland University. We will see what he's got here, as now he's got a pitch from behind. Donlin's got a only one inning pitched on the season so far, and the ERA does not make for pleasant reading. That inning must have been a pretty brutal one for him, as it was currently a 27 ERA listed. So, assuming that was a pretty brutal inning, we'll see if he can better that ERA right here as he takes on Jordan Long. Francisco Olivares struggled a little bit today. 3 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them were earned, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts is that final line for him. So now Donlin comes in a 5-2 ball game to try and keep the Ice Haulers in it, as he's got that kind of sidearm release, that low release point, as he kind of angles his body so that he can get that low release point. It's hard for hitters to hit those kind of pitches, especially if they're pitched well. So we'll see if Donlin can work it here against Long.
Long takes that one as he had a batter's count, 3-1. If he liked it, he swung at it, and he fell for it. 3-2 full count, as Long had a good day at second base against Licking County, but went 0 for 3 at the plate. In his last game, he came in clutch against the Cincinnati Steam with an RBI that resulted in a 4-1 win in Athens. So Long having his moments to shine. However, he is in a 3-2 count to start off the top of the order for this inning.
He's transferring to Notre Dame College in this coming fall after hitting .344 at Edison State as he takes that walk. It's good to see him, moving on up in the world. He really played great baseball at Edison State. He's been a valuable part of this Copperheads team so far this year, and he is moving on to bigger and better things over at Notre Dame College right here in Ohio.
Long on first, Crump rounding out the order, and then we're back to the top for the Copperheads. Donlin trying to figure out what the groove looks like as he walks his first batter of the night. Donlin slings it across the plate for a first strike against Crump.
Yeah, if you ask a hitter how hard that those pitches are, I mean, it could, regardless of how good the pitcher is, that pitching angle, this pitching release, as you see. And I know that with our camera setup, it's not the easiest to tell with our resolution, and we're working with what we're working with. Once again, big shout out to Cedric for all the help he's given us here. But the release point is so difficult for pitchers to hit, because you can get so much whip on a baseball from that low release point, and it can be so hard, especially when he's got the velocity that he does. I mean, it's looking like, from my view, it's about 80, 85 miles an hour. And this is, of course, on this high school field, the mound is also closer to the plate. So it's hard as a hitter, especially with that low release point. What can Ian Crump do here?
Not only that, but it kind of changes up where he can put this across the plate. So the second to last pitch we just saw was a little way too far outside. Meanwhile, he gave the slow ball. Still a 2-2 count with no outs to the Haulers' name. Runner on first. Long gets the look back from Donlin. And then Crump takes matters into his own hands and sails it right behind first base for an RBI. Meanwhile, Long was halfway there before it even hit the ground. 2 runners on. 1 single put to Crump's name as we are at the top of the order with 1 in scoring position for the Copperheads. A situation, once again, the Haulers find themselves in a jam with no outs to their name. However, a fresh arm on the mound might just do the trick for the top of the order.
Yeah, now Trey Rucker up to the plate, who has stepped up in a few clutch scenarios here over the course of the past few weeks for the Copperheads. Has plenty of RBIs on the season.
Bunt situation as Rucker lays it down on first, sends the runner into third and second. Meanwhile, Long hits second, and Crump rounds third, and with the overthrow from Rucker, it makes it in the park home run off of a bunt, an overthrow as a result.
This is very confusing. TJ
There's
Lanning
a lot of
coming
things
out.
going on right now as Lanning comes out to debate with the umpire. For sure, those 2 runs counted.
So the Ice Haulers just stopped. They stopped playing, and that was we're still kind of confused over here in the broadcast booth, but it was first off a really great bunt laid down by Trey Rucker to advance the runners.
So
We're gonna have to go back. No, nobody scores.
nobody scores.
Runner's interference. He's out.
Runner's interference from Rucker as he is out, and it redacts the 2 runs that they had just put. It was a beautifully laid bunt, but I'm confused as to where the runner's interference happened.
It must have been. It was a very close play over there at first base. Rucker was motoring down the first base line to get in there in time, but I just didn't see a runner's interference there. And you know, Cedric, our producer, knows that we've had our gripes with the GLSCL umpires all season, and that was another mind-boggling call.
I'd consider that a lucky break for the Haulers as
absolutely.
Hodges steps up to the plate, hopefully looking to put those runs back on the board, even though Rucker had to bite the bullet on that one. Donlin slings it back, and it's a 1-1 strike as Hodges swings and misses across the plate. That is a break for the Haulers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they all just stopped. I mean, even if with the runner's interference call, you just can't stop.
Can't just
If
stop.
the baseball is in the playing field, you got to play the game, especially on plays like that where if there's an overthrow and as long as it didn't go into the dugout or out of the playing field, it is a live ball, and runners can run, and that's why, you know, Long came around, Hodges came around, and eventually Rucker came all the way around. You're thinking 3 runs on a bunt, but, of course, you know, that was all halted by the runner's interference call. A little bit of a wild play.
It was a late call as well. If they would have called it,
Very
made it a
much
little
so.
more obvious, you wouldn't have had 3 runners come in and score on a potential in the park home run. Not only that, but it seems like Hodges takes this one into his own hands and sends it to center field. However, with the runners tagging up, sends them to second and third, moves Long and Crump into scoring position a little bit closer to that bag. Meanwhile, that is 2 outs to the Copperheads' name, and it's a matter of can Kyle Ratliff do some magic for the Cheds in the position of making sure they score some kind of run, as they have not been scoreless so far between all 4 innings. They have put something up on the board every single time. So that ball flew out into center field. Credit to Maglioka on the effort out there.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say that's a really solid play out there in center by Maglioka. Not an easy catch. I know that one you couldn't see because of our broadcast camera, but he kind of had to readjust as that ball's coming down and catch the ball over his back shoulder. And then, you know, the runner's advanced. He gets the ball back in, and now, again, this guy, not a guy you want to see at the plate with 2 runners in scoring position. He already has a home run. He's got a single, both of those scored runs. And now Kyle Ratliff with runners on second and third here with 2 outs, a chance to potentially break this game open for the Copperheads.
Break this game open with a 1-1 count. Meanwhile, Donlin takes a look at his base runners behind him and aside him. In the pitch, on the way outside, left batter's box, 2-1 count. Break it wide open indeed, considering the fact that 4 out of the 5 runs have included Kyle Ratliff's contribution to the board.
Yeah, Ratliff on 29 RBIs for the season as well, trying to go up to 30 here if he can get one of these 2 in.
Donlin with the swing. Ratliff sails it just a little bit too high. Infielders and outfielders chase it outside of the fence, but it's not close enough to try and make that out-of-bounds play.
Now Ratliff, you know, he loves to attack. You'll see it in his stance, and he will attack. If he sees a pitch, he goes after it, and he'll, you know, if he swings and misses, you'll feel the power from over here. You'll feel the breeze, as they say. But if he connects, they rarely stay in the park if he connects.
Donlin takes a look back at his runners. Meanwhile, Ratliff once more takes a swing and fouls it off and behind. A lot of foul balls here tonight so far. Those kids are just hanging out back there.
It all
rightfully
speaks,
so.
It all speaks to that testament of just staying alive. You know, keeping batters in the box. You know, forcing lengthy at bats. This at bat's already at 5 pitches, and it just continues to motor.
Continues to motor, and he didn't mean to swing on that one, and you could tell it on the way that he dropped his bat, leaving runners out on the field, ducks on the pond, second and third, Long and Crump that were supposed to be in. A little bit too late of a call, and a lucky break for the Ice Haulers going into the top of 5. You stay with us here on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. Going into the bottom of the 4th inning, this one is brought to you by Larry's Doghouse. Personally, I've never been to Larry's.
I cannot believe you've never been to Larry's
Okay,
Doghouse.
listen,
You lived in Athens
for
4
years, and
you
I never went to Larry's. Yes,
that's
I know.
That's a little
It's
bit
kind
of
of
a crime.
sin.
It's a little bit
Kind
of
of a sin, but
Yeah.
not only is it a sin, but
It is a sin. It is a sin how good those hot dogs are. I will say that
never
much.
did a hot dog. I knew Larry's for the milkshakes, and as someone
and
who cannot
phenomenal
have a
milkshakes as
milkshake,
well.
I had no desire to go to Larry's otherwise. And a hot dog just never really sounds good to me unless I'm at a ballpark. Like right now, I could kill for a hot
Well,
dog. But
if you're a Copperhead fan and you enjoy Larry's Doghouse, so you're in luck because we, have our Larry's Doghouse stand right there inside Bob Wren Stadium. So if you're feeling hungry during our games at Bob Wren, you can always pick up a fresh dog, courtesy of Larry's Doghouse. They've also got the Copperhead Crunch Dog, which is an absolute classic. They've got the shredded cheese on it, the onion, the Copperhead sauce, which I love, and it's so good. I would recommend it to everyone.
Reinhardt up to bat, and he takes a crack at it, goes high into center field. Meanwhile, Hedges finds that one up in the air, retires the batter. First out of the night, gone.
And after the home run derby of the first couple innings, we've gone to a little bit more small ball here. The Copperheads almost got a couple runs in on that. A little bit of a baffling play. We were discussing it in the commercial break about just what the heck happened on that one. As Snyder steps into the box, he homered in his last at-bat for the Ice Haulers. It was a very confusing play, Claire. At the bunt laid down by Trey Rucker, kind of right in front of us here. We're sitting over on the first base side. Bunt laid down kind of right near the pitcher's mound. Very, very good bunt from Trey Rucker. And he's got the speed to make it down there and beat out the throw. He's done it multiple times this season as the runners are advancing. And it was just a kind of weird snap play at first where, the throw was not a great one from the pitcher. And Trey gets over there, and then the ball runs past the first baseman, and every Ice Hauler player stopped. The outfielders stopped playing. The infielders stopped playing. So T.J. Lanning notices this and just Clayton Hodges sends home. Or not Clayton Hodges.
Kyle Ratliff just sends him home, and we were looking for him in the park.
They sent everybody. I think it was Crump. It was Crump and Long. Long and Crump were on the bases. Long gets sent home. Crump gets sent home. And then, in the end, even Rucker came home. But the umpire was just, kind of had his finger out. It was weird. It wasn't called until the end of the play as we were doing that.
Snyder gets retired.
Worked a walk.
He does work a walk, and it's base runner on first. Snyder, one down, top of the 4th, or bottom of the 4th, I should say.
But in all, very, very confusing play. Very confusing play. And I obviously with
baseball can be confusing, as known as Montgomery steps up to the plate.
Yeah, Montgomery with a single in his last at-bat. As Gilkey is through 3 and a third. Thrown 35 strikes to 22 balls. He's up to 57 pitches on the night. So far, it's been pretty solid. Really 2 mistakes from him so far, and just he was punished pretty hard on both mistakes. Both home runs mashed out of the park on back-to-back hitters. That one's laced into center.
Snyder got a piece of that one, and it bounces over Hodges' head. Good thing Rucker was there to back him up. However, it will cost them at least a run, maybe even 2, as Reinhardt is scored in. Reinhardt contributing for 2 out of the 3 runs to his name and make it a double with an RBI plus an error, sends Snyder to third. And once again, Snyder, the cause of a couple runs on the board. Meanwhile, Hodges, nothing much he could do there, as it was just a bad hop off the turf and went right over his head. Good thing Rucker was behind him to back him up.
Rare fielding error there from the Copperheads, at least in the outfield. I think Hodges just misplayed it very slightly, and it just took a rough bounce, as you said, bounced over his head. And, yeah, that's good outfield play by Trey Rucker to be over there and be ready to, that's what you're taught as outfielders, to assume your teammate's going to make a mistake and be there to make up for it. And Rucker was lucky for the Copperheads, as that's probably Montgomery may have come around for an inside-the-park home run if Rucker's not there. So good play from him to hold up the runner at third. But now Gilkey has to work out of another jam with a runner on third and the tying run here at the plate in the bottom of the fourth.
Gilkey gives a look back to Montgomery on third. Slings it. Fielder's choice as Long takes it, makes a nice easy throw over to Class. However, once again, an RBI sack makes it a 4-5 game. Not much of a cushion there. Gilkey relying on his defense, and like we mentioned, a bad break over Hodges' head. However, there's 2 down for the inning at the bottom of the fourth. Gilkey with, once again, the momentum in his favor. However, needing the top of 5 to really get back into things for the Copperheads to figure out a cushion. The pitch, just a little bit low, but it's enough to call it a strike and make the umpire happy as Pollard steps up to the plate for the Haulers.
There's not much Jordan Long could have done there. I mean, he makes it's a routine ground ball, but heads up base running for Mason Montgomery. He sees that it's a ground ball, and he is already motoring. He's about halfway, 3/4 of the way to home plate by the time Jordan Long gets there. He would have had to throw it like a pitcher if he's even thinking about getting it over there. So he just decides, you know what? We'll take the run. We'll concede it, and I'll take my out. Gets the easy out over there first. A smart play because I don't think the play at the plate was a play. Montgomery is getting there 10
Play at the plate
times
wasn't
out of
worth
10.
how much work was going to be put into it type deal.
Absolutely.
2-1 count. Make it a 2-2 count as he gets slung once again right above the knees as Gilkey finds a spot right there against against Pollard. Against Baglioka, sorry about that. 2-2 count, 2 down, 4-5 score.
It was a good pitch, as you may have heard from our Copperhead dugout, which we're right next to. It was a solid pitch, good slider, just couldn't catch the outside corner. And it's a good 3-1 pitch to attack out of the zone. Now here comes a 3-2.
3-2, and he gets walked as once again the walk to first base could work in favor as the tying run is on first, and the lead runner steps up in the lead score, steps up to the plate and make that Archer the top of the order. Gilkey having a conversation with Steidel, just needing to close things out and minimize as much damage as they can any farther, considering the 2 runs that have already scored. And nothing, again, to the discredit of Gilkey. It's just a matter of how that ball hopped over Hodges' head to score the 2 runs in.
Yeah, again, I really don't think he's done much wrong. I mean, he's had his fair share of walks, but, I mean, he really hasn't pitched a bad game. Just 2 mistakes from him and 1 mistake from Clayton Hodges, and that's 3 of the runs. And then the 4th was obviously tacked on there by Montgomery off of the hit. Again, partially on Hodges there as well, as that allowed Montgomery to get to third from that extra hop that Hodges gave him. But still good plays, and this is turning into a really, really solid ball game as the Copperheads lead at 5-4 here in the bottom of the 4th. But this is anybody's game right now. The Ice Haulers have not let the Copperheads run away with this one. They are hanging around, and this is setting up for a great finish.
Absolutely setting up for a great finish as Gilkey takes yet another throw, delaying the pitch. 1 strike down on the count against the batter being Archer, top of the order for the Haulers. Gilkey once more takes a look over towards first. Gives the nod and go ahead. Steidel ready to fire, saw him out of the corner of his eye. Meanwhile, Maglioka takes a few steps back towards first, knowing Steidel has the arm as they've fallen towards that base throw towards second after trying to make a steal or 2. Gilkey once more takes a look back at first, gives the wind up and a good old nod. The pitch falls out of bounds. It was a little awkward of a chopper outside of the first baseline. 1-2 count in Gilkey's favor. Just needs to close it out to finish things and minimize the damage with yet another base runner on the bags.
Another familiar batter here for some OU players in Nathan Archer, a Bowling Green player, so a guy that some of these Bobcat players may have seen in MAC play this year.
Head nod comes from Gilkey, and the throw from Steidel, but is it too late? Nope, he is out at second, and they retire the batter with a 1-2 count as we will see Archer come back up once again. Not only that, but they get out Maglioka at second on the tag. Stay with us here as we go into the bottom of the 5th for the Southern Ohio Copperheads on YouTube. Going into the top of the 5th, our sponsor for this inning is Jackie O's. Gotta love Jackie O's. I do miss their brews and the environment that they bring to Athens County. You can get some of it up on tap here, but it just isn't the same walking down Court Street and not going right off of Union. You go past
I didn't know
Wits.
that. I didn't know you can get
Yes.
Jackie O's up on tap here in the Cleveland
Yup,
area.
they sell kegs to
That's
local
cool.
establishments
That's
up
cool.
here. I absolutely love it. And sometimes you just get lucky, but they do their cans. You can go to the grocery store and figure it out. However, it's nice to have a little slice of home wherever I go, considering Ohio is not that big. But however, a big player up at bat right now is Josh Steidel, who was 1 for 3 last game against Licking County with 1 run and 2 hit by pitches against Licking County. However, it kind of sucks to know that, but he has made his contribution. And as we say, ouch, he almost takes off the heads of the entire bench for the Haulers, making them turn their heads.
That was close, let me tell you.
Dang.
I mean,
That was a rocket.
they are sitting over there on kind of like the edge of their, not even really a dugout. It's more of just kind of a
Wouldn't
like
say the
over
safest
thing.
spot either.
No, and I mean, that was about a foot away from whoever that is. Whoever that is, their head was nearly taken off there by that baseball. So maybe go behind the fence.
Maybe go behind the fence. That's why there's some safety precautions in place when you play Little League, is for situations like that. All because you get older doesn't mean you get wiser. Steidel, 3-2 batters count, has worked his way back into a great situation. 4-5, gave up a couple runs in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, this game just keeps twisting and turning, Claire. Copperheads took the lead.
As Steidel gives it a ground chopper to first and runs to the bag himself, beating out Donlin. No need for some extra help as he is retired. 1 out, 4-5, nothing else happening besides Mason Nadolny stepping back up for the Copperheads.
As I was saying, this game is kind of slithering like a snake, like a copperhead. Both ways. The Copperheads took the early lead off the Ratliff home run and the Stallings RBI double, and then fought back to back-to-back home runs from Reinhard Snyder. The Copperheads came right back, tacked on a couple more as Nadolny rips one.
Nadolny rips one into right center field, and it's just a little bit of a chopper to make it a single as he sits on first base. And with the sun setting, things you can finally start to gauge where that ball is going to be hit. Not much shade for this ballpark. However, with the sun starting to set and the lights kicking back on, it gives for perfect baseball weather. Not only that, but a great placement from Nadolny between Maglioka and Pike out in right center.
Yeah, second hit of the night. Third time Mason Nadolny's been on base in tonight's game. He's 2 for 2 with a walk, so he's getting on base early and often in this one. And that brings up Maverick Stallings, who had a double, which brought in a couple RBIs, as I just mentioned, and also ground into a fielder's choice that ended up bringing home Kyle Ratliff as well off of the error by the shortstop.
Stallings steps up to the plate. As Donlin takes his look over towards first base. And the sling from Donlin, but it is a fielder's choice as Pollard looks to go towards second, gets the out. And that is for sure 1 out added to the board. However, leaves Stallings at first. Once again, fielder's choice works out just fine for the Haulers. 2 down.
Yeah, pretty much the same sort of hit that just happened. This time, the shortstop over there, Armsey, just didn't quite get the transition between glove and hand perfect. Maybe half a chance to turn 2 if he gets it right, but he didn't get it perfect. Took a little bit too long, and there was no even attempt over there from second baseman Montgomery to try and get it over there to first base. So Stallings on base at first.
Stallings on base at first, but that brings Class up to the batter's box as Donlin slings it. Class takes a crack at it and finds the hole between second and first base, puts it into right field, and gets him onto the bag. Runners on first and second. Stallings second, Class first with 2 down, 2-out rally, as you can kind of hear the dugout making some noise as Long steps up to the plate to hopefully contribute to some of these little bit of bloopers. But it seems like having Donlin on the mound has really contained some of those hits from the Copperheads, not as explosive of bats. However, doesn't mean that it won't come true anytime soon with a 4-5 score. And the strike goes against Long in the first pitch thrown to him.
Now Long up to bat. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. Copperheads with 8 hits already tonight. So the bats have been alive, but it has been a back-and-forth game. Can they get something here? We talked earlier in this game about taking advantage of opportunities. So far tonight, for the most part, with maybe, the half exception of that strange play in the last Copperhead batting inning, the Copperheads have taken advantage of their opportunities in the field. Another opportunity here as that one is away from the catcher.
It's away from the catcher, and the runners are away from first base as Stallings and Class advance themselves across. Stallings at third, Class at second. Meanwhile, with runners in scoring position and Jordan Long up, the Edison State player out of Huber Heights, who had a good day at second against Licking County and came in clutch, looking to come in clutch once again with ducks in the pond. Just need to send him home. The pitch a little too far outside, 3-1, batters count.
Yeah, this is a big spot now, especially with runners now on second and third instead of first and second. That's massive with 2 outs. Pretty much any base hit now will score them both, just like Maverick Stallings in the first inning. Can Jordan Long come up huge here and extend the Copperhead lead?
Donlin with the sling, just a little bit too far low, and there's full bases loaded. A situation where they have 2 outs and the 2-out rally coming true for Crump, who is at the bottom of the order for the Cheds. The Miles Community College, originally from Rapid City, South Dakota, steps up to the plate. Meanwhile, Donlin gets a meeting at the mound with Hagan stepping forward for the manager of the Haulers, bringing everyone in from every corner. Meanwhile, you can see in the distance the next pitcher being rotated in as he makes his way towards the batting cages to go take a few.
Yeah, there's some action in the Ice Hauler bullpen. But right now, Donlin is going to have to work his way out of this for now. They only just kind of got going, so as many pitchers know, you have to warm up. It takes a few minutes. You can't just throw a pitcher in a game cold or they won't be good. So this is on Cooper Donlin here. He had a pretty solid first inning. He had a pretty solid first 2 outs of this inning. But now a single, a couple walks, and a fielder's choice. And just like that, the Copperheads have the bases loaded here with 2 outs. And Ian Crump up to the plate, who is 1 for 1 tonight. What can the Copperheads do here? Can they take advantage, as we've driven home so many times, can they take advantage of another opportunity presented to them?
Not only can they take advantage of an opportunity presented to them, but can the Copperheads bring the upset against the Haulers, who are 2-10 overall in their last 12 games? And even though they're sitting pretty going into playoffs, losing to an out-of-conference or out-of-division rival is not what you want to see going into postseason play. So can the Cheds pull off the upset? And with the padding that they have and the ducks on the pond, it's just a matter of can Crump execute the hit that they need?
Yeah, and these two teams play each other 3 more times. All 3 of them will be in Athens over next weekend or so. I believe doubleheader coming up on Friday over at Bob Wren, and then Saturday will be a nightcap as well against the Ice Haulers, who do need these games. It's very important for them. They need to pick them up in a tight GLSCL North where only the top 2 teams make the playoffs. You have to be perfect from here on out, and they've been a cold streak.
Have to be perfect from here on out. Meanwhile, the hit comes at the most perfect time. Ring in Stallings as Class makes an eyeball for it, and an overthrow at home gives the option, and he is safe. Meanwhile, Long makes a run to third. Crump on second after an overthrow with his shot past the first baseman into right field, and absolutely needed those runs, and he executed the way that he was supposed to. Make that a 7-4 lead over the Ice Haulers. Getting a little chilly out here. Meanwhile, the Copperheads are heating up on the Haulers' home turf.
Yeah, they are whittling down that ice, and the Copperheads are doing that damage. Donlin cannot get out of the jam there as a nice little piece of hitting there from Ian Crump right back up the middle. And then another fielding mistake from the Ice Haulers. They've had a few of those tonight, as it looked like the runners were going to hold up, and that would reload the bases for Trey Rucker now, who steps into the box for this at-bat. But instead it kind of bounced over the glove of Reinhardt, the catcher, and I believe it was Mitch Klass who was able to come home from third base, another run, and now it's 7-4 Copperheads.
The two-out rally that they needed and they absolutely wanted and got from Crump. What? You got to give the hats off to him. He was patient in the box. He worked the count in his favor and was picky about what he's looking for and absolutely hit the spot where he needed to. You needed that base hit. You didn't want something in the air, or else it was an automatic 3 outs. Meanwhile, Rucker sends that one outside of foul and into foul territory, but got to give the hats off to Crump, considering he saw the situation at hand and he knew he needed to put the ball on the ground. Not looking for a line drive, but something just to move the base runners as you were in a 2-out situation, and one touch of a bag and you're done, and none of those runs count. Donlin with the swing.
Fans at home get to watch the beautiful sunset here in Sandusky. It's a lovely, as we've mentioned, it's a perfect evening for baseball, right around 80 degrees. Not a cloud in the sky. We were a little worried that we might get rain today after the rain out yesterday, but in the end, it's been a perfect day. It was a really nice day at the park at Cedar Point, as we mentioned earlier, and now it's just turned into a wonderful night for baseball. And so far, the Copperheads have been lighting it up on the base paths.
Not only have they been lighting it up on the base paths, but it seems as if the ball went into foul territory, and Donlin took matters into his own hands, chasing that one to get the out. 2 runs added to the board for the Copperheads, all thanks to Crump. However, having Stallings, Klass, and Long on the base path makes things a little bit easier. However, teamwork makes the dream work as we go into the bottom of the 5th. Stick with us here for Southern Ohio Copperheads on YouTube. Welcome back into the broadcast. We are going into the bottom of the 5th, sponsored by Steak and Shake. I love Steak and Shake in Athens. That was like a home away from home for me. However, home away from home brings a new pitcher for the Copperheads, Adam Geary, with a game called by Claire Geary. Makes for some success on the mound. He steps in for Gilkey. Gilkey ends his night well established and knows that his team comes through. Gilkey with 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 errors, 3 batted balls, and 1 strikeout to his name.
So a solid outing from Gilkey. Did a job, as I've mentioned a couple times, really only 2 real mistakes on the mound, as that one is laced just over the glove of Nadolny, so a single in the end there.
A single from Archer. A single from Archer, not bad. Shows that the ball's hittable from Geary on the mound. Puts Archer at first base, and it was one of 2 pitches that Geary was able to throw towards him.
Yeah, and Geary has been really solid for the Copperheads this year. He's been one of the pitchers that Coach Lanning can really rely on, a 3.03 ERA and 27 strikeouts so far on the year, and he can throw some gas. He's pitched really well in that game that we had here, that I had on the call with Tim Hanna, where we went to our interesting sudden death rule. Geary had three shutout innings, including that weird ninth inning, as the steal is this time finally, third time's the charm there for the Ice Haulers on the steal.
Third time's a charm. However, Steidel just a little bit late on throwing the catapult over Armsy at the plate. 1-1 count, no outs. 7-4 with your Copperheads, up by 3. All thanks to Crump, who got Stalling and Class in. Meanwhile, him and Long left on the bases after Rucker came through with things.
Yeah, Adam Geary, a really solid pitcher, as I just mentioned.
Geary gives the pitch. Fielder's choice once more. Stallings makes the throw to first, gets the runner out. Meanwhile, leaves Archer at first. Armsy retired, bringing Cross up to the plate for the Haulers. But as you mentioned, making sure the ball is put into play is the other half of the battle as a pitcher, to make sure that your defense is there to sit behind you and back you up and execute the throws, the catch, and the transfer of the ball between the mitt to the hand. Those three things, there's a lot that can go wrong, and thankfully it seems that Geary and Gilkey can rely on the defense for such things. So first pitch from Geary towards Cross is a ball.
Yeah, one thing that the Copperheads have really tightened up as the season has gone on has been those fielding errors. There were a lot of games earlier in this year where the fielding was a little rough. There were some nasty errors over at short and third. You know, people making little mistakes that you don't expect to see. But as the season has gone on, these Copperhead players have done a really good job of just drilling in that, and these pitchers have been confident in their players to make the plays. And so far tonight, the Copperheads with a 0 in the E column, which is what you like to see if you're Coach TJ Lanning.
Absolutely like to see, but there's still a lot of ball left to play as that ball is turned into a strike. 1-2 count. Geary up against Cross in the batter's count. 1 down, 5th inning, 4-7 score. Geary taking his time. Gives a good old puff, and he strikes him out, swinging and goes down. Make that 2 outs for Geary.
Geary always seems to step up when the pressure is on him, as I was kind of saying earlier before the base hit from the Ice Haulers. Geary with 3 super clutch innings against the Scouts a little over a week ago, where the Scouts had a sudden death inning. Where how that works is that it's basically if you can keep that 0 on the scoreboard, you win the game. Geary had already pitched 2 shutout innings, and he pitched a third, got the out, and the Copperheads were able to win it on defense, which was really something to call up here. It was an awesome spectacle and a packed house inside of Bob Wrenn Stadium. We always have such great fans and great atmosphere.
Gotta love good fan retention.
Absolutely.
Good fan retention also comes from a slow pitch from Geary. Caught Pike on the slow one, comes across the plate, and yet he sails more of a normal speed pitch right back over the other side of the batter's box. 1-2 count.
Geary's got a lethal slider that can catch you off guard with how off speed it is, and then he can blaze you right down the middle.
And blaze you right down the middle indeed, as he makes it 3 up and 3 down as he retires Pike on the slider right down the middle. 6th inning going into it with the Copperheads feeling good. 7-4 lead for your Sheds. Stick with us here on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube.
Go for it.
Welcome back into the broadcast. It is the top of the sixth with the Southern Ohio Copperheads up 7-4 with a 3-run cushion brought to you by Ohio University Credit Union Financial, where they are for the people. But most importantly for the people is the pitching change for the Haulers as Brady Renfroe steps up to the mound and takes his first throw of the night in gameplay up against Clayton Hodges for the Copperheads.
Yes, so that is the exit of Donlin. He had 2 innings of 4 hits and gave up 2 runs, had a couple of walks and no strikeouts. So I think, honestly, you'd probably Donlin was an improvement on the last inning if he came in with a 27 ERA, which is not great, but a solid couple innings of work from him. We'll probably regret that second inning where he kind of gave the Copperheads a second chance with 2 outs on the board, but now this is the meat of the Copperheads order coming up right here. You've got Hodges, and now he gets on base for Kyle Ratliff, and then you got Steidel and Nadolny right behind him. Not the part of the lineup of the Copperheads you want to face, but the problem is it was the bottom of the lineup that did the damage in the last inning with guys like Jordan Long working walks and Mitch Klass getting base hits. But now Kyle Ratliff up again trying to hit another bomb.
Shows you just can't. You can't put a label on where you sit in a batting order, absolutely, when it comes to this Ohio Copperheads lineup. Ratliff takes the first pitch from Brady Renfroe for the first time tonight. It's just a little bit too high next to the eyes. Meanwhile, Hodges sits on first. Gives Renfroe a little bit of a look. Renfroe with the pitch. Sends it down into the strike zone. Ratliff gives a head nod, knows what he saw, knows what he's looking for now. 1-1 on the count, 4-7 score. Renfroe takes another look at first. Meanwhile, they send Hodges to second, and with a little bit of a ball thrown, makes it a safe steal, added to his name on bases, ran towards. Ratliff, 2-1, batter up in the count. Renfroe takes a look back at second base. However, Ratliff takes it into his own hands, sends it over left field once again where he found the money. Not only does he ring himself in, he rings Hodges in with him. Add that to the scoreboard. 9-4 over the Ice Haulers. Absolutely puts ice in his veins. He saw what he saw with the first pitch thrown towards him, and the second one, he nailed it and sent it over the fence. Kyle Ratliff.
So nice. He had to do it twice. Kyle Ratliff is a stud. This guy just keeps on dominating. Any pitcher you throw his way, any ball you throw his way, he will crush it. And, you know, as a pitcher, there's just not much you could do against guys like Kyle Ratliff because he just finds the ball, finds the zone, and whenever he tries to get one over on him, not in his house. He just lashed that one. That one wasn't as much of a moonshot as the first one, but it was still just absolutely laced over the left field wall over there. No chance for a potential home run robbery from the left fielder Pollard. And that is home run number 9 for Kyle Ratliff. He'll be looking to hit double digits here pretty soon. Wouldn't be surprised if he does it tonight.
Wouldn't be surprised if he does it tonight. Not only that, he is followed up by Steidel on the lineup. Steidel with a 3-0 count, everything in his favor. Meanwhile, Renfroe just trying to figure out what he's doing within this zone. First strike called against him, 3-1. Everything and some in momentum for the Copperheads. Meanwhile, Renfroe just looking to get a spot. Makes Steidel swing. You just got to give it up. You got to give it up to Ratliff. 6 out of the 9 runs on the board for the Copperheads contributed by this man, and the numbers speak for itself. Not only that, but players came out and put out their phones, hyping him up as he walked towards home, and pats on the back and a little bit of the phone action. All of it. So happy as Steidel gets walked from Renfroe. Steidel hits first. Meanwhile, Nadolny steps up to the plate. Nadolny as well has had his fair share of some moments during this game tonight.
Yeah, he's 2 for 2. Got a couple of base hits and a walk. So been on base in all 3 attempts so far. as Renfro, not a great start here from him. Walk, home run, and then another walk. So not great if you're Brady Renfro.
It seems like Renfro and the entire pitching organization and lineup from the bullpen is just not where they need to be tonight, considering Nadolny takes that one into his own hands. Fielder's choice gets the runner out at second. So Steidel is retired along with the fielder's choice, making it a double play.
Yeah, that's a smooth double play there executed over there by the shortstop, Armsy. He just kind of took that one into his own hands. There was the one earlier in the game where he couldn't get the transfer right, and it cost him the double play. This time he's like, you know what, I'll take matters into my own hands. Grabs it, steps on second base, and then slings it on over to first for a fairly routine double play. So for now, the Ice Haulers keep Copperhead runners off the base paths as Maverick Stallings steps into the box.
Pollard, an absolute wall of middle infielder for the Haulers, really been the anchor for this team when it comes to covering the left side of the field. Meanwhile, with 2 runners out, brings Class up to bat for the Cheds as the ball sails above his head. 2-1 count, 2 down, 9-4. Copperheads just enjoying this one right now, but they know no lead is too big or too small, considering the Haulers have proven that they can come back and put it within 1, as we saw in the first inning. Meanwhile, Class takes it again over the fence, sends that out solo, another home run. Second time we've seen it tonight for the Copperheads. The third time we've seen it, Stallings sends himself around the bases, a light trot, makes it a 10-4 lead, double digits for the Copperheads.
Send these guys to L.A. at this point. It's a home run derby tonight for the Copperheads. That is 3 for them. Stallings gets in on the act after a couple from Kyle Ratliff. Maverick Stallings with the home run to extend the Copperhead lead to 10-4. Players are excited. They're out of the dugout, hyping up their guy, and it is an absolute flex of the muscles here from the Copperheads. 10 runs, and they are flexing their muscles tonight.
Flexing as they should, considering the absolute home run derby that they're putting on as a show. Class steps up to bat, 1-1 on the count. As you heard, Cedric in the background making an Oprah reference. It's like the 12 days of giving here in Sandusky Sports Force. But heck, the only people that are receiving the gifts are the Southern Ohio Copperheads, as Class takes a 2-1 lead in the count as the batter takes a crack at it, sends it back into the nets, 2-2.
Stallings' first home run of the year, I believe. So that is a big moment for him. Maverick Stallings getting, now that's his 3rd RBI on the game as well. So a really good game for him as Class swings and misses at that one.
Class swings and misses at that one, but I wouldn't call it such a loss of an inning as he walks off with the smile. 10-4 for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, making it a double-digit score and widening the lead with 6 runs between. Stick with us as we go into the bottom of the 6th here at Sports Force in Sandusky with the Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. Bottom of the sixth, sponsored by Eclipse Company Store. Favorite part about Eclipse? The stage. You can go see
It's
live
awesome,
bands there.
yeah.
And Uncle Lou Horvath, the voice of the Bobcats, the lovely public address announcer for Ohio University, puts his band on stage with the Backwards Boys. Absolutely love him. Uncle Lou is my go-to guy at Ohio Athletics, along with Michael Stevens and Julie Cromer, lots of others in that department as well. But Uncle Lou takes the cake. Meanwhile, who takes the cake for the Copperheads with Geary on the mound, puts another strike up.
A lot of candidates for that tonight. There have been plenty of heroes out there for the Copperheads, but it's really hard to deny Kyle Ratliff right now with 2 home runs for him tonight, bringing in 4 RBIs as he had a single as well. So it has been a productive day for him at the plate, 3 for 4. Maverick Stallings also making quite a case for that as well, as he is 2 for 4. And he's been on base all 4 times, a couple of fielder's choices, a double, and a homer for him, as there's another strikeout for Geary. After that early single he gave up, he's now cooking.
A strikeout for Geary, retires Reinhardt, as Reinhardt was cooking as well as part of the home runs on the board. One of those runs contributed from Reinhardt himself. However, Geary takes matter into his own hands with 1 out, no runners on. Up to the plate next is Snyder, the other home run contributor for the Haulers. Half of the runs scored, seen by the batters that just now put in front of us, 4-10 on the board. Copperheads sitting comfy with a 6-run lead. Meanwhile, we all know very well how the Haulers can find their groove, but just a matter of can they stay consistent with it. And so far have not seen it yet, as Geary throws 2 balls towards Snyder.
Yeah, I must say, though, I can't believe we haven't mentioned it yet. This is a heck of a uniform battle, let me tell you. I love the Copperhead orange. It's a really nice, smooth uniform. Goes well, blends well with the green, fits the the vibe of the Copperheads. But the Ice Hauler uniforms are very nice. That powder blue with the white coloring on the uniform, as that one is in there for a strike. Really nice uniform battle today with the blue against the orange, and the Copperheads leading it right now, I think, on the scoreboard and in the uniform battle. I like the Copperhead uniforms.
Only thing I'd change about the Ice Haulers uniforms is the fact that the numbers are gray. However, make it strike 3. The second strikeout in the inning for Geary as he retires Snyder. Brings up Montgomery, and even though they might be icy blue jerseys, they are still cold at the plate tonight with Montgomery stepping up to bat. And the Copperheads are on fire with Geary leading the way. Can't forget about the credit to Gilkey.
I know our producer, Cedric, absolutely loved that one. He is the king of puns, as I like to call him. He's always got them. I know he was itching. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't get to call any of these games just because of a few different reasons. Yesterday's rain out and such. But he had puns for days, with ice and Copperheads. You could even say this uniform matchup is a battle of fire and ice, orange and blue.
Montgomery sends that one into foul territory, and that's caught and retires him, and he's out in 2 pitches. That's 3 up, 3 down as Geary finds his zone. Stick with us as we go into the top of the 7th here with the Southern Ohio Copperheads on YouTube. Top of the 7th inning brings us with Ohio Health as the sponsor for this half of 7. I haven't been to a hospital in a while.
Yeah, that's a
Knock
good
on
thing.
wood.
That's a good
That
thing.
is a good thing.
That
I
is
never
a
took
good
a trip
thing.
to
Hopefully it'll be a while before you're in a hospital.
never took a trip to Blennis. Thank God.
Yeah.
I really did not want to do that down there. Being from Northeast Ohio is some good health care. Got to give it up to Ohio Health, though, for contributing to the team. Not only are they contributing to the team, so are the Southern Ohio Copperheads.
Been dominant tonight, the Copperheads, and they have forced the Ice Haulers into a 4th pitcher now. Ty Monroe comes in, number 9, from Fremont, Ohio. Brady Renfro may not want to listen to this next part because it's a pretty ugly inning from him. A couple of hits, 3 earned. Did get a strikeout, but a couple of walks. So not a great outing from him. As now Jordan Long steps back into the box. He's got a couple of walks tonight.
He's got a couple of walks, but this is also the 4th pitcher that he's seen on the evening so far. So it's just a matter of adjust and pivot. As we say, he adjusts and pivots. He pivots on his way towards first base as he takes the bag for himself with the walk. Rounding out Long is Crump. Crump, our star of last innings. Little bit of a 2-out rally, and by little, we mean a lot considering they added to the scoreboard.
Yeah, two for 3 this game. Crump has struggled a lot at the plate this season, and today he's found his groove. He only had, I believe, just 6 hits coming into, or I believe only 3 hits coming into tonight's game. He's got 2 tonight, so he's looking to double his hit tally right here if he could find a base hit.
Absolutely perfect night for Crump. Not only that, but maybe it's just the magic of what Sandusky brings. Everyone always has a good time
maybe
up
the
here on the
Copperheads should
islands.
always hit the roller coasters before the games.
If that's what it takes, then maybe Annie Valent should invest in a roller coaster at Bob Wren Stadium and make Ohio University's Bob Wren Stadium known for having a roller coaster in the MAC. Not only are they most dedicated fans, but we're also the craziest.
Oh yeah, it'd be like the little water slide they've got over in Miami at the Marlins ballpark.
Who needs a water slide when you got a roller coaster? Imagine the legalities going into that one. Annie, don't take our advice if you're listening to this. 3-0 count goes towards Crump. Meanwhile, Monroe trying to once again work the strike zone in his favor. It's just a matter of getting through this ball game. The score speaks for itself. A couple miscues and firings on the defensive side of things. Pitching falling asleep and not being able to work a count. Meanwhile, finally puts a strike up on the board. 3-1. Hitter's ball. It's a hitter's game right now, considering not only that, but Long on first base as well as he gets the look from Monroe.
With the top of this order coming up, this would be a bad walk to give up here with Jordan Long on base as he takes off.
Long takes off as the overthrow comes at second, and it's a walk. Looks for an extra base to third. Good base running. Heads up play. Meanwhile, Crump takes first. Runner in scoring position. Another well on his way with the top of the order. Rucker seems like every single time these pitchers find themselves in this position, and that's why Monroe is calling a timeout to figure out what he needs to do before he gets in too deep, considering there are no outs on the board for the top of the 7th.
Yeah, and of course the mercy rule has come into effect here as it is the 7th inning. So if the Copperheads find 4 runs here and then get through the bottom of the 7th unscathed, we would be done here in Sandusky, and the Copperheads would hit the bus early. But Trey Rucker now up to the plate. He is 0 for 4 tonight. Had that strange runner's interference play back in the 5th. We'll see what he could do here.
Rucker steps up. Again, his 4th pitcher. Seems like the Copperheads have really just gotten a taste of what the Haulers have to offer on the mound. And honestly, really good preparation going into the next series against them, considering they will have 3 games, one of which being a doubleheader in Athens to round out their season. So the Copperheads getting a good taste of what it means to go up against their entire squad. Meanwhile, there's still one more in the bullpen that has yet to make an appearance for the Haulers. Just a matter of when, not if at this point in time. Ball soars over Rucker's head, and you can hear the dismay from the dugout for the Copperheads. 2-0 count runners on first and second, and everything in the momentum of the Cheds.
Yeah, Ched's going for their third win in a row. This is also the third game in a row that they've gone over double digits as Rucker lashes one to center.
Rucker lashes one to center, and it gets into the hands of Pike. However, doesn't stop long from getting himself in. Meanwhile, Crump sits pretty at second base and puts Rucker on first for a long solo RBI single.
A well-deserved RBI there for Trey Rucker after the shenanigans of that fifth inning. Whatever happened there, it was very strange. But now that brings up Clayton Hodges, who has 1 for 3 at a triple back in the third, and he walked on his last at-bat.
He walked in his last at-bat. Meanwhile, that one goes behind him. You could tell Crump wanting to take off on that one as he was given the steal signal. Anything that he made contact with, he was running on, knowing that they had nothing to lose and everything to gain, as the score is 11-4 here at the top of the 7th.
Yeah, as I was kind of saying before Trey Rucker hit that single, this will be the third game in a row the Copperheads have hit double-digit runs, and a team that at times this season really struggled to score runs. They've had their occasion of, sometimes they put up runs. They put up 14 against the Mariners back last month, but at times they've struggled. This time, finally, it's going to be over 30. Right now, they're at 33 runs in 3 games.
33 runs in 3 games is a number you want to see. Meanwhile, Monroe thought he found the strike zone, considering that's where the blue has been calling him all night long. Just wasn't quite inside enough to please the man behind the plate. The pitch from Monroe as Hodges sends it up into the air, looks for an infield fly, and it is missed. However, it is still called an out, considering the infield fly rule with the runners on first and second. So regardless if he even messed it up, it was still an automatic 1 down towards the Haulers. Still remains Crump and Rucker on the bags. Meanwhile, Ratliff takes his crack up at things with his 4th at-bat of the night. Not only that, it's his 4th pitcher, but it doesn't seem to matter who's on the mound because he'll still sail it over the fence.
If there's any Ice Hauler fans that somehow found their way to the Copperhead broadcast, you might want to turn it off right about now, because they may have seen enough from this guy. You might have popped this one up, though.
He pops this one up, and he is automatically out. Ratliff just shakes his head. Couldn't have a perfect night. Lucky break with one of the most dangerous players statistically for the Copperheads. However, have no fear, Steidel is here as he makes his way up, and Steidel contributing to things as well for this rally and home run derby that we have seen so far.
Yeah, 3 straight innings with runs here for the Copperheads. They've had 6 runs. They had put up a 2 spot in the 5th, a 3 spot in the 6th, and now just a 1 run here in the 7th, with potential for more with Rucker on first and Crump over there on second, and Steidel bringing that power. We'll see if he can show it.
Bringing that power and showing it, absolutely. However, Monroe takes a look back and sails it into the top of the right batter's box. Way too far out for someone to go chasing after a 1-1 count with 2 down at the top of the 7th.
And we'll see what Steidel can do here against Monroe, the righty versus the lefty.
The righty versus the lefty gets the strike called against him, considering it is 1-2 with 2 down, 11-4 your score. Runners on base. Long and Crump still out there waiting to be called home.
Yeah, a home run here would put the game into potential mercy rule territory.
Potential mercy rule territory gets squashed just a little bit after, as Steidel is retired. Not only that, moves into the bottom of the 7th. So get up, do your 7th inning stretch, sing the song to yourself by all means. We aren't going to do it. I don't have any sort of pitch, but stick with us as we go into the bottom of the 7th with the score of 11-4 here with Southern Ohio Copperheads on YouTube. Welcome back into the broadcast here at the bottom of the 7th. Hopefully you got your stretches in. They're playing Ice Ice Baby. That's a good little alternative considering the music lineup at the traditional American ballpark. However, bottom of the 7th leaves us with a score of 11-4. Your Copperheads up by 7 in the 7th, and this one is sponsored by Larry's Doghouse. And I'm not going to out myself again by saying I've never been there. I've driven past it multiple times. Listen, it just happens. Listen, Linda, it happens.
I mean, but it's such a staple of Athens culture. I mean, it's one of the most iconic food
Fun
places.
fact, they do
place.
breakfast.
Yes, I have heard that. I have
learned
not
that
done.
one from Jacob Rockoff.
But like, not even one Weenie Wednesday. Like the dogs are $1 on Weenie Wednesdays. It's
I
such
never
a great
did.
Deal.
I was most likely working. Think
Fair
about
enough,
it. Think
fair
about
enough,
it.
Fair enough.
All right, 1-1. The count up against the Ice Haulers with Geary on the mound. Meanwhile, at the plate is Michael Pollard, the left fielder for the Haulers. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Adam Geary just chugging along now, 2 in. After that first single, he is settled on in just that one hit. He's got 4 strikeouts. Make it 5.
4 strikeouts turns into 5, and it's contributing from his nasty slider that he's got. And seems like every player he has faced so far has fallen injured and out as a result of it. 1 down, 4-11. Ice Haulers looking for a Hail Mary's worth of a home run derby for themselves to try and put some runs together, but it wouldn't even be enough at this point. However, a comeback is always open. And the pitch comes over from Geary. Geary once again slings it. However, it seems like Maglioka gets a hold of that one, sends it into right field all the way in the corner outside of our blind spot, and they relay it into third, but is it enough? No, the batter makes his way to third for a solo triple. No runs scored, but definitely some extra oomph that they needed. Good thing the backup from Geary on the mound after the overthrow came in from the outfield. However, with the runner sitting on third, there's definitely one in scoring position to slightly take away the lead of the 7-run gap between the Copperheads and the Haulers.
Yeah, that's a good play by Geary, as you mentioned, as an adult. He didn't quite catch that cleanly, so if Geary's not there, might be an inside-the-park home run, but, you know, that's just right into the corner, as that one's also hit hard.
Hit hard and way back in center field, gives Hodges the ability to step back and take matters into his own hands. However, with the runner tagging up, sends Maglioka in to score, making it a 5-11 game. However, 2 outs on the board. Not much damage done when it comes to the point, when it comes to the run differentiation. And Geary still finding his stride. It's just a matter of making sure he gets up in the count and puts the nail in the coffin for the batter, as he struck out 5 so far through the night.
Yeah, now here's Jacob Armsey, who's 1 for 3 with a double back in the 4th.
1 for 3 with a double. However, the last 2 at-bats that he has seen from his teammates have come off of the first 2 pitches with the hit, so he takes a crack at it trying to get a piece. And the second one, a strike down the middle as well. Down 0-2 in the count. Needs to be a little selective and not chase after something and fall for that nasty slider. However, it seems that the last 5 who have fallen for it have retired themselves, and he doesn't fall for anything as it sends himself to Hodges. Hodges steps back and finds it out in deep center field, makes it a 3-up, 3-down, with Maglioka sending himself into home to add it to the score. 5-11, a quick bottom of the 7th puts us into the 8th. Stick with us for the last 2 innings of this game with the Southern Ohio Copperheads on YouTube. Welcome back into the broadcast. It is the top of the 8th inning as a new pitcher makes his way for the Hollers. The 5th one of the night, hard to believe. Bobby Perezbic makes his first appearance on the mound for the evening. Top of the 8th, sponsored by Jackie O's. You got to go get yourself some hazy IPA. Some Homer his hazy IPA. Doesn't make it such of a hazy night as it is hitting the wall from the Copperheads. From Mason Nadolny, sends it into the wall for an RBI to his name. The bats continue to stay hot for the Cheds, and Nadolny sits at second.
Yeah, another just well-hit baseball. They have just lashed it tonight. Really, just there's not much else to say on that. Nadolny a few feet away from a home run of his own there as he smashes that one just over the Kane sign in left field as he got around that one. Slides into second with a double. The Copperheads have a leadoff double, and that brings up Maverick Stallings to try and bring home his 4th RBI of the night, potentially.
4th RBI of the night potentially happening for him. Meanwhile, it seems like Pereznik is just a little too hot for the batters to handle, and Snyder steps back on the first base side and plays a little bit of right field as it's easier for him to grab. Meanwhile, Pike and Maglioka step in to back him up and have the first out for the night.
So now that brings up Mason Nadolny, or no, sorry, not Mason Nadolny, Mitch Class. Nadolny stays on second after the pop out by Stallings, and now Class has a hit tonight, 1 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts as well. Had that hit back in the 5th inning.
Going 1 for 4 is all you need to be going to the big leagues and making your money. Mitch Class, the first baseman, has a 1-0 count up in the count for him. Meanwhile, his fellow teammate Nadolny out on second with 1 down, 1-1 the count. Perezbic still trying once again to find his groove. The last 2 batters getting a piece of it. Meanwhile, it seems like Class is taking his time with what he's being selective on. Hasn't really taken a swing yet. Wants to get a feel for what he's throwing down the strike zone. 2-1 the count, 5-11 the score.
Perezbic from San Diego Community College. And he has got a 13.5 ERA on the year in 12 innings, but 13 strikeouts. As that one is hit hard, but out of the park, foul ball.
Out of the park, the opposite direction for Mitch Class as he makes it a 2-2 count, even 1 down. Top of the 8th, 11-5. Perezbic, used to this sunny weather if he's from San Diego, considering how hot and humid it was. Maybe the rain wasn't what it was. Potential balk as he goes to look to make the throw towards Nadolny and just follows through. The look back. Wind up in the pitch. Way outside, it makes it a full count, 3-2, 1 down. Perezbic being the 5th pitcher we've seen tonight. Not every single Copperhead has seen every part of their rotation from the bullpen. However, it seems as if Class got a piece of it and hit right into the corner of our blind spot, but a foul ball as he makes his way back to the plate. Stays alive, 3-2. Ump signals back into play as the ball is retrieved. Perezbic gives his glance back at second. Once more, the pitch and the throw as it is in an infield grounder just a little bit outside for Pollard not to reach, but hit the tip of his glove. Knocks in Nadolny, puts Class on first, and is labeled as an error in the scorebook as a result of the tip. Perfect base hit down the middle of the ball field and out of reach for Pollard to get a hold of. 12-5 once again. You put one up from that solo home run from Snyder for the night in the last inning. However, the Copperheads respond once again and make that lead 7. However, another fielder's choice option and an overthrow from Perezbic lets long hit first. Meanwhile, Class finds his way to second, and he just stays there not enough comfort to run towards third, and the overthrow puts back-to-back errors on the night for the Haulers late in the game. Not what you want to see from your defense when you're already down so many runs.
Yeah, that's just a mental error there from the pitcher, Perezbic. He just kind of he fielded the ground ball well, and then he just underthrew it, actually. Kind of just dribbled it in, and it snuck under the glove of, I believe, the second baseman out there, Montgomery, and what could have been 2 turned into 0 real fast.
Turned into 0 with 2 extra runners on that they don't want. Not only that, but Crump is up to bat, and Crump leading the bottom of the lineup. Once again, it's not the top. However, you got to give the credit where it is due, and that is in the last 3 on the scorecard, considering they are just the meat of this roster for the Copperheads, and they've been doing their dirty work down below. Strike called against Crump. 1-2.
Yeah, Crump is 2 for 2 tonight, but he's also drawn a couple of walks, so a good night at the plate for him. A good night at the plate for pretty much every Copperhead. Every guy has had at least a hit or a walk, I believe.
Perezbic with the pitch. Just a little too high across the shoulders of Crump. 2-2. 5-12 with that extra run being batted in.
And every single Copperhead has either scored a run or knocked in an RBI. So a very productive day at the plate for every Copperhead.
It's a great way to see what having the bats connect look like. Not only that, but pretty clean fielding work and a solid pitching rotation, all working unanimously against or harmoniously with one another, hand in hand. Meanwhile, the Haulers really getting a taste of what this Copperhead squad has to offer with the full count. Gives Crump bases loaded in the top of the order, everything in his hands, and it's a matter of what is he going to do with it. However, once again, the 5th pitcher of the night for the Haulers. Can he get this team out of the rut that they found themselves in?
Yeah, Trey Rucker 1 for 5 tonight as we're getting into 6th batting opportunities here in the top of the 8th inning. So the Copperheads have batted around many times here. And now Trey Rucker has the bases loaded, and we really now could get into Mercy Rule territory if Trey Rucker can find a base hit here.
Not only can Trey Rucker try and find a base hit, however, he sails this one outside into foul territory as the right side of the field angles their way towards the ball, but it's a little too far out for anyone to snag. 1-1 on the count, 1 down, 8th inning, 5-12 score in favor of your Copperheads. Presbick focuses looking for his call. Just a little too long, and Rucker takes it into his own hands and calls the timeout, forcing him to move even slower. Presbick with the pitch. Fielder's choice on third, out. Looks for the out at first, and he is safe because he was off the bag with his foot. The runner scores.
And I believe that the first baseman's foot came off the bag there on first. So they get the out at third, or
they get the out at third. Long advance to third. However, with Rucker moving towards first, his foot was off the bag as the throw was just a little bit too high, and it seems as if the umpires are going to debate this one. However, regardless, it was a fielder's choice at third, getting Stallings scored. Class out at third.
It was a strange play.
Long advanced. Crump to second, and then you put Rucker at first.
Another one in a game full of strange plays. And now they've reversed it. They've called it out. TJ Lanning is bewildered.
Lanning, rightfully so, considering there wasn't much conversation, and they eventually redid it. And normally the call stands unless there's a lot of evidence supporting otherwise.
I mean, this is not, the major leagues or anything. We don't have instant replay or anything like that. That was just after a discussion, and now T.J. Lanning kind of pleading his case here. And, well, what the heck? Why what'd I do?
Absolutely worth the conversation to be explained, considering all the base runners had moved and the appropriate people went to where they were supposed to. So that ends the 8th inning there. Takes us takes us in between innings, so stick with us here with Southern Ohio Copperheads as TJ Lanning makes his way back towards the Copperheads. Even though it was a rough one to fight it out on the third base side, the runs are still in their favor. However, the team should not be put at the cost of an umpire's mistake, and the call should stand as it is done, no matter whether it is right or wrong in the end. Stick with us here as the Copperheads take the field once more on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. It is the bottom of the 8th inning, and we have our closer out on the mound for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, Andrew Geary, next to Lake Erie, followed up by Beery, called by Geary. I have to give the shout out a little bit. It's a little too crazy.
It rolls
off the tongue a little too well, but not only a little too well, but Steak and Shake is our sponsor for this second half of the bottom of the 8th.
Those Frisco melts melt in my mouth. Let me tell you, I absolutely adore those Frisco melts. It's a staple.
I do love myself a double buttery steak burger with a large fry and a medium Dr. Pepper is my guilty pleasure. However, that one sails into center field. Hodges gets it off the bounce and keeps the base runner at first. Cross that one with the hit. 5-12 so far. The score, 7-run difference in favor of the Copperheads. A little bit of an awkward ending to the top of the 8th. Something that shouldn't have happened, an overturned call with no replay review.
Once again, it involved Trey Rucker, too. I mean, this guy
Trey
can't
Rucker.
catch a break.
He's just attracting some of the questionable things from behind the plate and in the field. Meanwhile, Geary with the throw makes the batter swing all the way around with Pike at the plate. Cross on first. Bottom of 8. Geary looks back at his base runner, gives the 2 head nods for the pitch, and once again gives the ability for Pike, and it sends it over into the outfield past the Kane sign. Give it a 2-run home run, a 7-12 lead with only 5 runs padding the 2. However, a little bit of luck from the new pitcher gives the 1-up for Pike. Puts him and Cross in, and it's well-needed runs that they haven't seen in a while. Doesn't make a dent a little bit, but it is the bottom of the 8th, and they only have 1 more scoring opportunity. And within those 2, they have to put together 5 runs, and that's a lot to ask for considering the most runs we've seen so far in an outing has been 4 added to the scoreboard. So putting up 5 would be the biggest run advantage to see to the night. However, anything can happen. You cannot jinx anything in baseball, as most of us have learned on a broadcast. But with Pike coming in off the home run, puts Reinhardt up to bat, and Geary takes the throw, making it a 1-1 count.
Yeah, Pike, the Toledo product, with his 5th home run of the season. This one was just a laser out to right center. Really solid piece of hitting again. And they will not go down, the Ice Haulers. They will just, hang around. It is still
They'll
a 5-run
keep chipping
game.
away.
But, if they can get if they can get a couple more runs in this inning, they'll feel like, hey, you know what, we're right there. And if we can keep the Copperhead bats quiet in the top of the 9th, who knows? They come in the bottom of the 9th inning and maybe do something.
They could do something indeed. However, Holler's still picking away at things. More of an opportunity to get better as a team rather than looking at the loss on the board. They still have 3 more opportunities to get better against the Southern Ohio Copperheads. Meanwhile, drop third strike as as Steidel takes his time making his throw to Class on first. First out of the night. Retires. Reinhardt brings up Snyder to the back. With the sun setting past the Millennium Force out into the backdrop of Sandusky Cedar Point Sports Force Park, it has just been an absolutely stunning night all the way around. The weather, it was an absolute wash earlier this morning driving into work. Rolled down the window, it seemed like a bucket was just pouring into my car trying to get something to happen. Snyder, who is 1 for 2 so far, has 2-0 up in the count with Geary on the mound.
Yeah, and as you said, the sun sets, it fades away as you can start to see Cedar Point light up over there in the distance. Probably won't really be able to see it on the broadcast, but it is visible on the broadcast, just really kind of out of view as the walk there issued by Geary after getting the first out on Reinhardt.
Snyder makes his way to first as he had a batted ball and had his 1 out.
And so Montgomery has 2 hits on the night, a single and a double. Popped out in his last at-bat, so 2 for 3 for him as Geary checks the runner over at first.
Geary does a runner check, meanwhile puts the runner back on the bag. Montgomery steps up to the plate, who is also 1 for 2. Montgomery sees the ball just a little too far back. Meanwhile, trots after. I think they called that hit by pitch. So base runner trots over. 1 on second. 2 runners on. 1 second, 1 first. Montgomery trots his way to first base. Not even sure if that was a hit by pitch because he didn't flinch. He just moved to the side and the ball sailed to the back. Didn't make any contact per se to see it go otherwise in a direction. However, nothing to lose, everything to gain for these Copperheads with 1 out down and Steidel looking to make the throw at second to try and catch the runner off guard.
Yeah, and we've seen that before. If Steidel catches a runner off, he will check it. He's done it at third. He's done it at first multiple times, and he's got that arm to be able to check a runner.
He's got that arm to be able to check a runner, and Geary puts that one a little too low and outside. 1-1 with 1 down. 7-12 with a 2-run homer contributed by Cross.
And a 12-7 ball game. Oh, and they've got the runner in a pickle.
They got the runner in a pickle, but an overthrow by Geary sends the runner home. Meanwhile, Snyder hanging out at second base while Reinhardt comes in, makes it an 8-12 ball game. 4-run gap. An overthrow, and Geary, you can see it in his arm and the way that he approaches back to the mound. Frustrated with the overthrow, considering he took his time and just sailed it a little too high, causing the overthrow and the run to be scored on.
It was good work from him to get the runner in the pickle in the first place. It looked like the double steal was called there, and he had it, and he just overthrew Nadolny at third, plain and simple. And now he's got even more of a jam to work out of now, because now, it is a 4-run ball game. It seemed like a game that the Copperheads were just going to waltz. They were going to cruise to an easy victory, but now, their nerves just maybe just jangling a little bit in the Copperhead dugout, and maybe fans at home, as it's 12-8 now. And in the bottom of the 8th, the Ice Haulers will have another inning to potentially come back up and do some more damage. So this game is not over.
This game is not over, indeed. And knowing that the Ice Haulers were hit for hit with them earlier up in the first and second innings here tonight. Geary with the pitch, a little too low.
Great block there from Steidl.
Hits Steidl right in the chest. However, that's what a protector's for, and keeps the ball in front of him rather than behind, preventing that runner from advancing. 2-2, 1 down.
Yeah, Steidl's defensive stability as a catcher, so underrated. He's been such a great, he mashed early at the plate, but his defensive stability, his ability to throw out runners is so good.
So good. Meanwhile, Geary retires this batter after a mistake at the mound. Costs a run, puts things into his own hands, the ball back into his glove. 2 down, 8-12. Meanwhile, Montgomery's just floating out there in the water on the extra base in the pond.
Now Maglioka comes up. He had the triple in his last at-bat. And the Ice Haulers need something here if they want to make this one interesting. Again, it's still a 4-run game, so there's still a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. However, it seems as if some extra crazy balls have been taking advantage from the Ice Hauler as Montgomery advances to third on the wild pitch, and Maglioka is up in the count.
Now Montgomery at third, so pretty much anything in play here will score the runner. And now, if you're Geary, you got to be careful, because if that happens again, that one just kind of skirted by Josh Steidl. It was a tough dig, but he just couldn't quite make it that time, as that one's fouled back. Steidl just couldn't quite keep it in front of him, and now, it's a precarious position that the Copperheads find themselves in a game that they've cruised offensively. They have 14 hits, 12 runs, but now all of a sudden this 3 spot in the 8th has just made things interesting again here for the Ice Haulers.
Has made things interesting as the last ball was hit outside of the park foul, and that one was called an inside strike, not anticipated by the batter by any means. 1-2 count, 2 down. One more to close it out and end this inning. And he does it. Geary closes it out and puts 2 Ks up on the board for him. 8-12. A little bit of damage added to the scoreboard, but not enough to rattle the Copperheads. Going into the top of the 9th, 8-12. Your Chets up by 4 in the last inning of the night. Stick with us as we round out this game here on Southern Ohio YouTube. Presbick back on the mound, looks to finish this one out against the Copperheads in the top of the ninth, 8-12 with a strike down the middle. Top of the ninth. This one brought to you by Ohio University Credit Union Financial. They got you covered, that's for sure. They got me covered. With that one, not so much covered as it sails right above the letters, a little too high for the strike zone. 1-1. As Presbick is just gets the ball, gets ready to fire through. Not much time between pitches as he's cranking through things. 1-2.
And the Copperheads have had you covered if you want offensive fireworks because they have brought it tonight. 14 hits on 12 runs, and it has been just dominant, but this one's grounded from Hodges, and he is put out over at first. But now, and I think if we had to pick a player, if I had to be put on the spot and pick a player of the season right now, I think it would have to be this guy at the plate because there have been plenty of Copperheads who have stepped up and had great performances, plenty of Copperheads who have stepped up and made plays in different spots, plenty of great pitchers, great hitters, but nobody has brought the energy and the power like this guy, Kyle Ratliff. 2 homers already tonight to go along with a single, 3 for 5 on the evening.
3 for 5 is a stellar stat at the plate. Not only that, he is the defensive hitter. He is the designated hitter for this squad, so not much you can say with his contribution out in the field. So all he needs to do is his job at the plate, and he's been doing it very well. 8-12 so far, and a lot of those runs contributed from his name. At least the first 4, if not the first 6, were with his contribution in some way, shape, or form, whether he helped, scored, or was part of the overall message. But Ratliff, a big player, and has won game or MVP of the game multiple times for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, making his feature on social medias as well. Bright future for this kid, that is for sure. Meanwhile, it is a 2-2 strike, 2-2 count for him, even at the plate. 1 down, top of 9, 8-12, with nothing to lose from Presbick on the mound.
Yeah, Ratliff just transferred to SIUE Division I, the Cougars. And I'm excited to see what he does because this guy is certainly D1 caliber. And I am absolutely thrilled to see what he does in the future and the rest of this season for the Copperheads because he's got records to break.
He's got records to break. However, he goes down on the night for 3 for 6. Not bad when you're hitting 500 at the plate. Second out. 1 more to go for Presbick to finish out his night. The 5th pitcher we've seen go through the rotation for the Ice Haulers. Still can't forget about the last one who is warming up in the bullpen just in case things go south. However, with only 1 more to go for the Haulers, they finally get their last turn at making some magic happen on the field, and whether or not they can perform and put together 4 runs, can't do math.
Well, if they could put together 5, they would walk us off. Ooh. As that one hits Steidle right in the back.
Steidle gets hit right between the numbers and turned his back knowing it was coming, but immediately walked himself towards first base, and you can hear the dugout chanting towards him, making sure that he is well supported after getting slammed in the numbers from Presbick. But a duck in the pond, another one in the water, and once again, Steidle on the bag.
So
Nadolny up.
No hits tonight for Josh Steidle, but 3 on-base appearances, had a couple walks, and now a hit by pitch as that strike gets by Nadolny. So Steidle's been hit by quite a few pitchers.
There's always one on a roster.
Yeah, he got hit twice in the last game against the Settlers. I remember back when we were up in Salina for that game against Grand Lake, he got hit, and it forced him out of the game. He could have come up at a big spot instead. We talked to TJ Lanning afterwards. He said, yeah, I had to take him out. Diego Ortiz had to come in.
1-1 count with Nadolny at the plate. Presbick with the pitch. The swing went across. 1-2. 2 down. 1 on the bag after a hit by pitch from Steidle. Potentially the last strike we can see for the night for the Copperheads to end their night with 12 runs. However, Nadolny still has yet to do it. And he swings and misses, and that is the end of the show, at least at the plate, for the Southern Ohio Copperheads. 3 more left in this ball game. Stick with us as we finish things out here at Sports Force Park in Sandusky as the Ice Haulers give their last Hail Mary's worth of an effort to close in the score and potentially take the lead here in the bottom of the night here on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. We are at the final 3 outs of the night for the Southern Ohio Copperheads against the Sandusky Bay Ice Haulers here at Sports Force Park by Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. As we round out the final 3, a little bit too far of an extra throw from Steidel over the head of second base. Nothing too big for Hodges to take care of to relay back in. However, we have a new player on the mound, our true closer. We just had an extra relief thrown in there, Andrew Lyon, to finish out the last 3 innings for the Copperheads, hopefully minimizing damage after Andrew Geary let a few trickle in, but nothing to worry about considering how big of a lead they had at one point. 7 runs between the two, now down to 4. And the first pitch from Andrew Lyon, the windup across the plate, sends it up into the air. Meanwhile, third crashes into it, and that is an easy out for Nadolny. Crashes back into it, and the ball goes right back into the hands of Lyon. 2 more to go to close out this one.
Yeah, that was Archer who flew out there, and now Armsy up to the plate here. Last, down to their final 2 outs, the Ice Haulers. They fought all night. They have hung around. They've stuck around, but they are reaching the end here. They got to find something, and that was 1 pitch and 1 out.
Got to find something. 1 pitch, 1 out, and that's exactly what you want your closer to do at the top of the order, as well as Archer was retired. And Armsy takes it to the plate, 1-0, 0-1 against him.
Yeah, Andrew Lyon coming in now, trying to finish the Ice Haulers off. He has been very good so far this season when he's played, the Montreat College product.
Another strike thrown down the middle, and you can hear it from the dugout and just how excited they are for this win on the road. Most definitely needed, as they will close it out with a 3-win streak if they can do it. A little too low, 1 ball, 2 strikes, as Armsy is trying to find something to put it together, at least a hit, some kind of momentum that seems the Haulers could not find at all once they figured out how to hit off of Gilkey a little bit. It stopped, and they got cold. Absolutely lost what they had going for them after Ratliff kept contributing. All of the players in some way, shape, or form have something to do with the scoreboard, and the teamwork really just put the nail into the coffin and let the pitching slip by. Not only that, but a couple errors on the field as well does not contribute anything nice. And it was looking to be a cool play. However, the mound pops things up. Just a little unfortunate with the way that this ball field was built. Pops up, goes past Lyon into the hands of Stallings. Stallings couldn't get his glove far enough out to make the shoestring catch and pop it over to first. So that puts Armsy on first with 1 down. In the 3rd slot, Josh Cross up to bat.
It's a tough play. Kind of just bounced right off the mound and straight up, which makes it real difficult for Stallings at short. And again, he just could. I mean, even if he gets it perfect, I don't know if he gets him out there.
Gets him out there. However, it seems like Lyon is just ripping them across the plate. Absolute heaters thrown with the speed that hasn't been seen tonight so far. 0-1 count. Still has Armsy at first. Lyon looks down at the base runner's eyes. The frame, no good from Style.
Yeah, as Lyon comes in, Cross is at the plate. He singled in his last at-bat. Trying to find something here. They need to get more base runners on if they're going to try and make this comeback happen.
Lyon looks down the base runner, throws another ball. 2-1. 1 down.
Yeah, and in looking around the GLSCL, the Scouts completed a huge doubleheader sweep today over the Steam. That's a big-time sweep for them. And then the Muskegon is defeating Royal Oak right now 5-3, and Lima is beating the Grand Lake Mariners 6-3. So big time 2 wins there for the Scouts, as they are still alive in the playoff race, trying to keep their GLSCL title hopes alive.
Trying to keep their GLSCL title hopes alive indeed. However, it is a 3-1 count as Lyon is trying to climb back into this one. Down for the count, looking for the heater. Does he do it? A little too far out, walks the batter and sends Armsy to second. 1 down. Steidel calls a timeout. Lanning steps out to the mound just to calm the nerves down a little bit. You can see Lyon shaking his head in response to his catcher, trying to figure things out, and Lanning coming out to say some words and calm the nerves, really.
I mean, this is not what you want. Two base runners on now. Tying run cannot come to the plate just yet. But again, if you're the Copperheads, you know, having the lead that they had in this game, TJ Lanning just coming out, just calming things down, just being like, all right, you know, easy. Just stick to your guns, stick to your craft, and find your pitches. He's blown by a few big strikes, but so far 5 strikes and 6 balls through his 11 pitches so far, and the 2 walks issued, as well as that pop-up on the first pitch to Archer.
Pike. Sorry, did not mean to step over you, but Pike steps up to the bat. 2 on, 1 down. 2 more to go to finish things off. You can hear Lanning inside the dugout calling out to Lyon with some encouragement. Got the first one on the strikeout, looking for another 2, or just at least putting something into play. The pitch fouls off, goes behind. 1-1.
got his strike. He needed the strike just to kind of get back into the groove of things. And thrown, I think, 4 balls in a row there. The 3 in the last at bat, and then the 1 to start this one out. Now he gets the strike, gets the foul ball off of Pike. Pike homered in his last at bat, so you got to be careful here. You know he's got the power. Hit it over the right field wall last time. We'll see this pitcher's duel, Lyon versus Pike.
Pitch. The slow ball goes a little too far up and out, moves the runners as it hits the glove and puts them into scoring position. A dangerous zone. If you put Pike into a home run category, there is only 1 run between the two.
And another dangerous thing to worry about here, if you're the Copperheads, in the on-deck circle right now is Jace Reinhardt, who is 3rd in the league with home runs. Already hit 1 today. Not a guy you want to see with the bases loaded here, potentially.
Neither of these guys you want to see at the plate, with Lyon putting the pitch up just a little too high. Just grazes the edge of the helmet.
3-1 count. You got to throw a strike here. You have to at least test the hitter.
Must test the hitter as he started off hot, but has yet to find his groove and has a hit-by pitch. Makes it bases loaded with the last person you want to see. And Lanning steps out and about to have one more conversation with Lyon. Hollers talking some lip over on the edge. Sends another pitcher to the mound for the Copperheads. 4 turns into 5, making it the same amount of pitchers for this. We'll take a step back just a little bit to let them have their throws in to get things out and truly not give up a lead with base runners on. Stick with us as we have 2 more outs to go here on Southern Ohio Copperheads. Two more outs to go. A pitching change made by manager Lanning from the Copperheads. Lyon saw 4 batters, 3 of which are sitting on base. 1 as a result of a weird, iffy play, and it just got inside of his head. And the other 2 were walks. The other one was a walk, the other a hit by pitch. Meanwhile, you have Reinhardt up to bat and looking for Sean Peck to close things out as he makes himself the 5th pitcher on the night for the Southern Ohio Copperheads.
Yeah, and this is his natural territory. Peck has struggled at times when he's come in as a starter.
And the ball is overthrown. Meanwhile, the runner scores, and the gap closes just a little bit more as Armsy touches home plate, making it a 9-12 game for the Ice Haulers. Slowly crawling back into it late with this one. But can Peck do it? Ethan, you mentioned that this was his bread and butter, but really needed that one to hit the glove and not the helmet.
Not the best start. I was saying that he's naturally a closer, has 6 saves last year at Finger Lakes Community College, and he likes coming in these sort of situations. He's got to step up here to get the Copperheads a win.
He's got to step up here to get the Copperheads a win, but that same pitch goes just a little bit high, and the mouths of the dugout from the Ice Haulers are a little more alive as well, considering they've been quiet all game, but now have some momentum in the back of their pocket. Pitch goes out of bounds, or goes foul, pardon me. I'm used to calling basketball. That's normally the sport that I am on a
Hey,
broadcast.
you've done pretty
for-
well for baseball. If you're stepping in, shaking off the rust, you've done a good job, Claire.
The graduate knows what she's doing just a little bit. Piece of paper worked out. 2-1. Make it 2-2. Gets him low on the inside. It fakes him out, that's for sure.
Great pitch.
Great
Really needed it.
pitch executed from Peck.
Yeah, really well done there. Just got under it, that little off-speed slider. And now 2-2. How do you attack here?
The attack. And he gets it. Looks for the drop third. Runs back. Gets the bag. And he is out at first. Gotta give Steidel the credit for making sure he had his eyes on the runner at third, preventing him from taking a run back towards after the throw. 2 outs, 1 to go. Can Sean Peck finish out the save here at Sandusky? And Sandusky at Sports Force Park by Cedar Point.
Eli Snyder now up to the plate. He has a home run from earlier. Remember, Reinhard Snyder went back-to-back, all the way back. Whoa! Oh
Snyder
my
back to
goodness.
back, but his bat went outside of the park. It just absolutely flew. You could see it. It turned into a boomerang, essentially, as the ball
Wow.
went foul, but so did this guy's bat.
I mean, this game
This
has
game
had,
has had every single
everything.
situation you could think of. So
I mean,
some
there have
kid's
been
getting a free
jaw-dropping
souvenir,
moments.
too.
There
I
has
mean,
been everything. It has been insane.
absolutely. Back gets tossed
He's
over.
got his bat back.
He's got his bat back. It just absolutely went for it. Now his teammates are
Honestly, getting the bat over the foul
fence.
over the foul ball net is very impressive.
It's very
honestly.
impressive, and he's got to put some tar on his hands. I mean, losing your grip like
I'll admit, I've done that with a golf club before, but
a
never
golf
with a
club is
baseball.
a lot
bat.
different on your grip. I mean, you're also going a little bit more of a
Man,
360 rotation
yeah,
rather
the
than
sarcastic cheers raining from
boomeranging it over the net.
Copperheads dugout.
Gosh, everything has just been in this game. That's counted as strike against Snyder. Make it 2.
And here we go
Make
now.
it 2.
0-2 now.
0-2 count. 9th inning. 9-12. Snyder up. 2 on. Looking for the last out of the night. Last strike from the closer, Sean Peck. Can he get the save? Baseball to third, over to Diamond on the first, and call it a win for the Copperheads. The throw from Nadolny hits Class right where he wants it at the numbers on the jersey, and the win has been executed for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, 9-12. Got to give the credit to the offense and the defense for keeping their heads in the game. The bat's alive at the plate. Meanwhile, the Ice Haulers definitely made the Copperheads work for their win towards the very end of it. Couldn't not give them the credit where it's deserved, considering they did make it a 9-12 game with 3 runs between, when at one point it was a 7-run gap. Ethan, final thoughts.
That's definitely a part of it. I mean, what an absolutely exhilarating game of baseball. Had a little bit of everything. And the Copperheads had to grind. They had to dig in for that win. But they get a much-deserved win, their 14th win on the season. And they'll head back to Athens tonight, a happy bunch, after a successful trip up to Sandusky. But these Ice Haulers won't be out of their sights for long. They're coming down to Athens for a 3-game set coming up this weekend at Bob Wren. So if you're watching at home, you don't have any plans for Friday night, Saturday night, well, we'll have plenty of action. And if this game is any indication, you should be at Bob Wren Stadium this weekend, because these two teams can put on a show.
Absolutely putting on a show, and it will be good to go. Great baseball to watch, as the Ice Haulers got a run for their money with the game that they saw tonight from the Copperheads, and it's a good picture of what will come in the future. So Ethan has stepped off the broadcast. Stay with us for a bit as we have our post-game interviews here on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. Welcome back into the broadcast with your post-game coverage as the Southern Ohio Copperheads beat the Ice Haulers 12-9. Next to me now is Adam Geary. How are we feeling after such a grind when it came to the pitching mound and as a team overall?
Yeah, felt good on the mound today. Obviously, our offense came out and swung the bats. That's what won us the game at the end. So shout out to them. But on the mound, felt good. Josh called a great game behind the plate. Had my stuff on. So feeling good after the win.
Feeling good after the win as well, and that off-speed slider really did the damage against the Haulers. How are you feeling has been working that into your arsenal of throws?
Yeah, so always kind of been working on my off speed. I don't throw overly hard, so I kind of rely on my off speed. My slider, my curveball were on tonight. Most of the strikeouts, that's what I got it with. Once I got ahead in the count, I tend to go to those. They were on tonight, so.
And even when you weren't ahead in the count, you could still rely on your defense to make the plays that were necessary after the ball would be put into play, which was more oftentimes than not, as we saw from the Haulers. They definitely gave you guys a run for your money. So looking forward into things, what did you take away from tonight's game against their batters, knowing that you still have a 3-game series up against them?
For sure. I've known a lot of these kids on the team. I played with them, played against them, growing up all my life in travel ball. A lot of great friends. So I kind of knew what they were looking at coming up to the plate. They knew what I throw. I know how they hit. So we're going to have to take that into this weekend when we have the 3-game series against them. But looking forward to get back on the field with them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And like he mentioned earlier, there will be a 3-game series, part of the makeup game against that got canceled from yesterday. July 22nd and July 21st. Catch them in Athens as they close out the season at Bob Wren Stadium. Up next on our post-game coverage will feature head coach TJ Lanning along with Kyle Ratliff. And stay tuned. Cool.
I'll come around. All right, Kyle, you're up. Awesome.
You did it too. Cool. Up next on our post-game coverage here at Sandusky, or in Sandusky at Sports Force, is Kyle Ratliff, the birthday boy himself. First off, happy birthday,
Thank
20.
you.
It's a big
Thank you.
one. You're hitting the second decade of your life. How does it feel to go 3 for 6 on your 20th birthday?
Felt great. God is good. Just had a great morning this morning at Cedar Point and just got to hang out and see my family and friends and just had a good feeling about today anyway. So just came out to the ball field and just something felt different about it. So came up here and just I was myself and good things happened.
Something good obviously happened considering you are now the franchise record holder for home runs, and you did it on your first at-bat nonetheless. Contributing to that, you are now the leader, really, because you broke it by 2. How did it feel to break that on your first at-bat of the night?
Yeah, that felt great. I honestly didn't even think it was going. I just kind of went up there with the approach that if I was going to hit it out, I was going to do it to center field, and that kind of kept me from pulling off the ball. And so I did that and got the head out actually to the pull side, and I didn't think it was gone, but, thankfully it went. So
Something to take note of tonight is that you really saw their entire rotation from the bullpen. What are you taking away from that as a player, knowing what you have ahead of you?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely got 2 more games against these guys that come to our place and, play in front of our crowd and, where we're comfortable. And so now that we've seen what they have and they've thrown, the whole kitchen sink at us, we know what's coming. And so regardless, we're going to have the same approach and we're going to do the same thing.
Whole kitchen sink indeed, and like you said, there's a lot still left to be played and a lot of time between then and now as well to have them turn things around as well. But congratulations on being the franchise record holder. It's your 20th birthday. You went to Cedar Point. Maybe you guys should always go to a roller coaster theme park before.
Absolutely.
Make sure that's like in the budget next year.
Right.
Just put it in there. If you can get it at Bob Wren, I think you guys would be the best team in the Collegiate Baseball League.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Up next is TJ Lanning following this, and we will be right back here on Southern Ohio Copperheads YouTube. And the man of the hour himself, winning manager of the night, TJ Lanning. Obviously, it was a battle at the end of things when you had to pull a pitcher right at the end with just 2 outs remaining. What was going through your head at the end of things?
You know, balls were getting wet out there. It's humid out here today, so a lot of guys' pitches were slipping out of their hands. So at the end there, Lion just couldn't figure it out with the rising and slipping balls and getting grip. So had to go to a guy that could at the end. So that's what happened. I mean, I'm not the man of the hour, that's for sure. These guys are. You know, we're making some noise here when it coming down to things. Very proud of how they all performed today, how they hit, you know, and how they pretty much pitched. So those guys are the men of the hour.
Speaking of the teamwork itself, knowing that your ace got hurt right at the top of the season, what can you contribute to your bullpen, building things through and really working through the struggles that have been throughout this season?
Yeah, no, at the beginning of the year, you know, we had a lot of ups and downs on the mound, you know, so we had to move guys in and out of the starting role and also from the pen to the starting role. So, I mean, we had to find some guys that can step in and get some 3 to 4, 5, 6 innings out of everything. So, ace going down, Andrew, I mean, it's tough. You know, he had a big summer. He had a big summer he was going to have with us. You know, he was cruising 92, 93, and then pop, you know. But, no, a lot of guys have stepped up this summer, and I'm very proud of them.
Absolutely. Something to be proud of is not only that, but your bats at the plate as well. It seems like every single person on your lineup tonight contributed to the scoreboard with a total of 12. I mean, what can you say about the effort at the plate?
Yeah, no, our hitting's finally coming alive at the end. You know, our pitching and our hitting is we're starting to play baseball now. You know, at the beginning of the year, it was our hitting there, no pitching and no defense. Middle of the year is more of pitching and defense, and the hitting's kind of slumped down. And now, towards the end of the year, we're starting to put it finally together. You know, it sucks that it's coming at this time of the year, but, you know, never late than better. So
never late than better indeed. However, what's coming forward is the 3-game series up against the Haulers. What were your biggest takeaways tonight, considering you saw their entire rotation?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know how they have been the rest of the year. I know I was talking to a lot of their guys. They said they have a lot of guys that went out early with some injuries and whatnot, you know. Just looking to take some more games and bump our way up in the standings of where we're at. You know, we're not where we want to be. So, I mean, we want to come out and give them hell all the way around, you know, and go give it to the Settlers again, you know. We're not out of this. I truly believe that. I'm going to keep telling the guys that, you know, we don't want to be in last place all summer long.
Don't want to be in last place indeed, and you aren't playing like it. Thank you so much on the night, and good luck with the rest of your season and the trip ride home.
Awesome. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you. And that wraps things up here at Sports Force Park in Sandusky against the Ice Haulers as they fall to your Ohio Copperheads, 9-12. It was a little bit too long of a final inning. Everyone held their breaths. All the superstition just came back roaring. However, the Copperheads came through and pulled out the win, taking this into this weekend where they face the Ice Haulers once again for a 3-game series in Athens. Can't wait to see what happens. Thank you to whomever still might be on this broadcast. Big shout out to Cedric Granger, Ethan Sargeant, every single cheddar back in Athens. Appreciate each and every single one of you for making these things happen year in and year out. And nevertheless, the fearless leader of Ali Valent, plus the College of Business in general, couldn't do it without you guys and all of the lovely interns / student employees and contributors to the squad, all the players, athletes. My heart is so full, and I am a little too emotional for the end of this broadcast. But once again, we are rounding things out here at Sports Forest Park with a final score of 12 for your Southern Ohio Copperheads and 9 for the Sandusky Bay Ice Haulers. Thank you for listening, and have a great night.